Hello, everyone. Good afternoon, good morning, good
Oh,
evening.
hello.
Um,
Hello,
Arsenal
hello,
Fan
hello.
Circle Sunday. The Sunday show is back. We missed it last week, so we really did miss it last week. Thanks for joining. Pull up a chair. You're all welcome here. And Sam has joined the circle once again.
Hello. Welcome back.
Thank you
We're
very much. Thank you.
good to have you back, Sam.
Thank
And
you. It's been a while. Life happens, time flies. It was good to take a little bit of break from the Groundhog Day of Arsenal. It was getting a bit much, but it's just nice to take a little break. When the season ended, and just to have a couple of weeks breather and that. But yeah, it's good. Yeah, but thanks for having me back.
all right, we're going to jump right into. I've got this preview, Arsenal predictions preview that we did 9 months ago now. So we're going to jump right into it. Mahir was involved in this. Tony was involved in this. Myself, Matt, and Gary as well. So, hey, we're going to start off with this. The first criteria was the league winners. Let's hear what one of us said about who would be the Premier League winner.
Here we go. No take backs, huh? So yeah, I think it's gonna be a tough one. I think it's gonna be between two teams, though. I think Chelsea and City. And actually, you know what? I'm gonna throw at Liverpool, and we're all gonna have a chance. I think United also might try to make some noise, but I just don't know if they've got enough. They might be the one team that doesn't have a complete package in terms of players and scheme and manager, coach, whatever you want to say there. So I'm gonna go with I think Chelsea.
All right, there you have it. Gary went with Chelsea as Premier League winners, Gary. Now, that would not be the worst take as it turned out for that round. But
Not a bad one. It's not like they didn't come off winning a big trophy, right?
What have you got to say for yourself, Gary?
Hey, I expect, like anything else, I expected them to improve, and they actually got worse. I mean, how can you get worse and you bring in a 20 goals a year scorer? How is that? Well, they figured out a way to do that, and
They somehow managed it, didn't they?
Yeah. So I mean, I guess I'm expecting people to get improve year to year, especially when you bring in a player like Lukaku, and I think he's got something to prove, and basically failed again, right? So yeah, I was totally wrong in that one. I think the tried and true always seems to work, right? But yeah, no, they should have been right up there competing with those two teams, right?
What happened to Lukaku? I don't get that.
Yeah,
Lukaku was amazing in Italy.
Flopped. Absolutely
He was amazing in Italy.
Yeah.
He started quite well for Chelsea. He started okay, and then what happened?
I think they
Well,
went away. I think they got
absolutely
ill disciplined in what they were, in what he can do and how to best use him, and they just went away from it. And I think they basically kept him outside of whatever scheme they had, and that's why it looked the way they did. And they were happy to have him sit on the bench, which seems like, how can you spend 100 mil on a player and you're happy to have him sit on the bench? That makes absolutely no sense, right?
No.
And that's exactly what they did. So they screwed up, or they got the wrong player. Which some people don't think Lukaku was the first choice. It was the team's choice and not the managers, right? So there's all this conspiracies out there. But I think they definitely wasted an opportunity, especially the fact that they played so poorly, and 10 more goals from him, and who knows where they would be. But that was I don't think it was a bad take, but I definitely think it was worse than I thought. Yeah.
I've got the next one queued up. It was actually my prediction, so you'll find that Gary's take was not so bad after all. Here we go. I was thinking down the line, very much like Arsenal. I'm going to go for Manchester United. I think we deny their neighbours, the noisy neighbours, from going ahead and getting Cristiano Ronaldo. Yes, he's 36 years old, but he has scored goals everywhere he's went, and I think they're going to be, I hate to say it, irresistible in terms of going forward. They're going to score a lot of goals, and I think they'll be decent at the back. So Man United for me. Tony, who you got? All right, so that was Man United for me, and predictions were 9 months ago. So
I mean, I think it wasn't too far off to sort of think they'll at least mount a challenge, because you saw that squad they have, and bringing in Ronaldo, you were thinking he was going to do more. And, with that Ragnick who came in with his, reputation and everything, I could definitely understand where that was coming from. I too thought they would do a lot more than what they did, but my God, they just completely shit the bed, didn't they?
Yeah, I completely got caught up in the fanfare. Varane being signed as well. So
Yeah.
all of that good stuff. Listen, so that was Gary. Gary picked Chelsea. I picked Man United. That's probably the worst pick so far wide of the mark. Tony, you actually picked City. So kudos to you, Tony.
Yay me.
In you
Mario
all.
also picked
And
City.
did he remember it though? That was a problem the last time he picked City. City. That?
That is the thing. Do you remember that? Matt, you also picked City. So 1 point to you, Matt. 1 point to Tony, and 1 point from my here.
Who did I pick? I was there as well.
Well, no, you weren't in part of this podcast that we did 9 months ago.
Okay.
So,
I
but
don't
who did
remember it at all.
you pick at the start of the season?
I think I remember saying, I can't remember exactly. I don't remember exactly who I thought it was, but I do remember thinking it was going to be between City and Liverpool, but I didn't think it would be. I thought it was. I think maybe I would have gone for Liverpool actually, if I remember. I think that's what I said the most at that time. I thought Liverpool would bounce back and beat City.
To be honest, I hadn't written down my predictions, so I'm going completely blind into this, not remembering what I've said 9 months ago at all. So this was a surprise to me, because I thought when Ray was doing this, I thought he was going to say I went for Liverpool, because I could have sworn that I said Liverpool, but thankfully, obviously, he said City.
Yeah, I think I went for Liverpool actually, because I thought they was going to come back and beat City, but City just again, my God, those.
Yeah,
they're just a machine, aren't they, in the league?
Yeah. And to be fair, we were looking at Manchester City. They tried to get Harry Kane at the start of the season. That didn't happen. So we all thought maybe they'd struggle for goals. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, I think we always undervalue the defense that they play, right? You always think about their offense, but they do have some guys on the back line there that you get concerned about trying to beat, and then they come up and then they hurt you as well. So they got scoring from everywhere. It would have been crazy to think what happens if Harry did join them. You know what I mean? Because now you've got maybe two teams going for the quad, right? You would expect with the amount of firepower they would have. So
yeah.
So Wales getting the business done today. Congratulations to Wales. Commiserations to Ukraine. Wales go on to the World Cup final. What's cooking, Troy? We are going through. We're opening up the time capsule of 9 months ago in our predictions. I picked Man United way wide in mark. Gary picked Chelsea, but Matt, Tony, and Mahir are off to a good start with picking Manchester City. Here's something that Gary said around about 10 minutes into the podcast, so this will have some resonance, Gary.
I'm going to go for cards now that are causing changes to our starting lineup. We might have injuries. We're going to have players gone in January. That January is a January period, right? January to February period is going to be really tough for us if we don't find our way beforehand. So we'll know how we're going to do based on how some of our players that we brought in are playing. So yeah, 7 is where I'm going to go with that. I know that was a little bit long-winded, but yeah, 7.
Wow. You know why it's long? All right, so that was Gary talking a little bit about the transfer window. And Matt, we didn't think this. Well, maybe Gary knew, right? We would struggle in January, February.
That's a good shout. That was a good shout.
Wow. It's crazy what you say like 9 months ago, right?
Gary and his mystic.
In the middle of January, I'm pissed off, even though I called it, right? So.
But do you remember calling it, Gary? Do you remember it?
No. I don't remember what I said yesterday. So there you go. But Ray has it recorded somewhere, so there you go.
All right, so the next section was where Arsenal would finish. I actually did quite well in this section. So let me play what I said 9 months ago.
When they go,
All right, ninth place. Matt, I'm one of the optimistic ones, so I'm obviously going to go for sixth place, and I'm leaving myself wide open to be bantered. But, the facts are there. It could be anywhere between sixth and, say, 12th, even lower than that, Matt. All right, so I'm going to give myself some kudos there. Sixth place, I picked. I will go on and win this section in sixth place. Tony, you actually picked ninth place.
I had them anywhere between 4th and 12th. So
You had them anywhere before.
Yeah, I had anywhere between
Nicely
first
vague
and
enough,
20th,
Tony. Nicely vague enough.
Yeah.
hey, Ray had a 6th to 12th. I could have a 4th to 12th.
Mahir had 11th, so Mahir is one of the pessimistic ones in 11th place. Matt, you picked 8th place, Matt.
Yeah, definitely did better than I thought. I never would have thought.
I will say Gary was quite consistent throughout this. You always said between 5th and 7th, Gary, but you did lean on 7th in the end.
I was given the Arteta tax is hard to, he tried his hardest to break that and get us 4th, but it just hurt us at the end. So there you go. But yeah, no.
Yeah. So Sam, what was your thoughts in terms of where we would finish at the start of the season?
I think I was definitely more. I think I was more in line with Matt about. I was thinking like 7th or 8th. Yeah. I didn't think we'd get European football.
No.
I just didn't think that, not based on last season and how thin our squad was looking and everything. In those games, the start of the season was just absolutely atrocious, wasn't it? So
yeah,
no, I just couldn't see. us getting European football. So yeah, I think I definitely went lower than Ray. That's for sure.
I didn't expect some of the signings to make as big an impact as they did so quickly. I thought they might take a little bit longer to kind of bed in, but fair play.
Yeah.
Okay, so I got myself on the board here. One prediction correct in terms of our finishing position. The next section up is predicting our points finish, and I picked out something that I had said as well. So here we go. Base finish for Arsenal. So I'm going to go for 65 points, slight improvement on last season, 4 extra points. But the team has yet to prove my prediction right. With 3 games played, 9 goals scored, no points gained. All right, so at that point, we were making predictions. We had lost the opening 3 games, as we know, and conceded 9 goals at the time. So we actually finished on 69 points. So my 65 points was the closest to that mark. Tony, you predicted 58 points. So going from 61 down to 58. Anything to say for yourself?
It would have still got us 5th place.
Yeah, it would have. And listen, stick around, everyone. We're going to be talking about Saliba after we get through all of this. We're going to be talking about Gnabry, Jesus, all that good stuff. Mahir picked 50 points. Yeah, and there's a little bit more to that. I was actually leading the witness back then. You'll see that as well and hear that. Matt, you picked 60 points.
Yeah, I was a little bit less optimistic than you were, but not by a horrendous amount.
And
Still
Gary,
us into 5th place.
Gary, you picked 59.
Well,
Still getting us into 5th place.
I overcorrected because the previous year I had it too high. So there you go. I think what did I have, 78 or something like ridiculous like that? So
that was goals. He had 77 goals.
Oh, is that what it was? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah.
Oh, he's dropped off. Yeah. He's doing his Houdini act again. He's done it about 4 times. And he pops back up again. Reappears.
Felix rising from my ashes.
I think there. You think there were 17 goals we missed out on this season? Or I think
What, as
that's
in missed?
Oh, yeah,
missed
definitely.
penalties? Yeah, God, yeah.
Lacazette missed, what, 40 goals?
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so there was another thing that I added on to this. So this is what I said 9 months ago about goals by committee. I think we've all said this at some point in time. We needed goals by committee. Start off here. 60. I think we'll score 64 goals. We have to score more than 55, which is what we got last season. I think we're going to get more goals by committee this season. We may well be able to spark Aubameyang a little bit with the creative space that we're going to have behind them. Yeah, maybe, Tony.
Yeah, keyword maybe there, right?
I think in order to be better, we have to score more goals, and we're going to be relying a lot on the younger players. I know it's not fair. We should have established players that are going to help the younger players, but it seems to be the other way around. We have the younger players who've shown the way. Looking for Emile Smith-Rowe and Saka in particular to get a few more goals and chip in, as they say. All right, so yeah, that was hardly a big prediction, right? Asking Emile Smith-Rowe and Saka to step up, while players like Aubameyang and Lacazette and Xhaka were not helping us, at the time.
Yeah, I didn't expect Emile Smith-Rowe to maybe do as well as he has done this season, though. I think he did really step up in terms of his goal output, particularly.
Yeah, Smith-Rowe had a good season apart from the last month or so. He sort of damped off the last month or so, but he had a good season. Saka, even though you could see he was struggling a little bit with his been a bit burnt out. Excuse me. But he managed to hold it going, didn't keep it going the whole way. But yeah, it was just Aubameyang left in January. We didn't replace him, and that's what he was left with, wasn't we? Lacazette and Ketia, another youngster, and the youngsters, wasn't it?
And bear in mind, Emile Smith-Rowe largely from the bench, really, as well. Did very well.
Yeah, and Emile Smith-Rowe had a great first half of the season. I think Tony is on to something. He said COVID really caught up with Emile Smith-Rowe and maybe hindered him after the new year.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing Emile Smith-Rowe has done is his finishing, at least when he gets his shots on target, is pretty good. I mean, even now you see him just taking shots. He's taking a couple of volleys, right, and scoring, what looks like easy goals. But I mean, he's been pretty good about that this season when he's taken those chances. So. Definitely enjoyed seeing that.
He's just got himself into better positions to score, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's actually taken the ball on rather than passing and releasing. He's actually had a bit more drive to go at goal. And he just had a knack this season of popping up in the right place.
Yeah, like you said, he's doing what I say: just shoot the damn ball instead of touch here, a touch there, and then the opportunity is gone. He just takes it, and goalkeeper has no chance.
He just needs to shoot better. He needs to finish a bit better still. But he'll learn.
He was the most clinical striker in the league at one point.
Who?
Aubameyang.
I'm talking about Emile Smith-Rowe.
Talking about Emile Smith-Rowe.
He needs to.
All right.
Aubameyang can hit a barn door with a banjo.
Here's a little snippet about Gary and Tony, which I think really has had a lot of enjoyment over the past season, watching those two spar. There we go. And we can take we can score goals irrespective of what Mikel does on the sideline. I know it's going to be a big ask. Tony, what have you got for our goals for?
I was going to go for 60, but Gary picked 60, so I'll go for 62.
Ooh.
It's okay to be equally right.
Yeah, so it's okay to be right, or it's up to you.
You gotta. All right, and that would be the precursor to the season that went on. They say I get involved sometimes, but I think it's principally Gary and Tony that spar a lot. But we'll leave it to Tony and Gary to sort that out. Well, yeah, Tony, you picked goals for. I picked 64. Tony, you picked 62, as you said there. Gary, you picked 60. Mahir picked 60, and Matt picked 58. The actual number was 61, so Tony gets points, and Gary gets points because they each picked either side of the finishing.
We went over, so it doesn't it? Isn't
No.
this like
Closest
what?
Closest to were the rules.
No, when you're over, you're bust, right? Isn't that how it works?
Sam, you can adjudicate, but
You just did this on purpose.
fine.
Just to
Closest to is fine. They both get points.
but everybody gets points.
Yeah.
And Mahir gets points as well. Mahir would come in late to the show, very much like he's supposed to be here right now. But yeah, he came late to that show as well, Tony. So yeah, listen, goals scored. We're talking about that. Can we improve that when we get a striker?
100%.
Well, that's the idea, isn't it? That's what a striker is supposed to do.
If our defender can score as much as our strikers, then I think any improvement from our strikers, 10 is a wealth of chances, right?
We got We've got how many goals from Lacazette this season? Not many. How many goals did we get from Nketiah? Not many, even though he scored a few at the end.
3, I think, right?
I think when you look at our season as a whole, the goals scored and who scored them, I think you can see the gap there is a proper striker. Now, if we have a proper striker and he's scoring 20 plus goals, you add that onto what we've got, we're somewhere between 60, what we're getting up towards maybe 80, between 70 and 80 goals. Yeah. Now, that is a huge difference. That will give us more points as well, obviously. Absolutely. So, again, it shows you the importance, and he's gone again. It shows you the importance of having a striker, or having a good striker.
Well, I mean, you look at Chelsea. So if you look at even the couple of teams above us, Chelsea in third place scored 76 this season. But then you have a massive jump to Liverpool and City, who are scoring 94 and 99. So if we do get someone who's going to bag us, say, 20 goals and get us up to that 80 goals, total for next season, that does kind of push you into third territory. So that's a really,
and that's what we should be aiming for me. Mm-hmm. I look at that and I think that's definitely an indicator of where we should be aiming. If we score 61 goals, basically with half a season without a striker, if we get in a proper striker now, then we should be pushing up to that third position.
I kind of feel like we're not going to get it. There's no such thing as a 20-goal scorer that we can afford. But there is. I believe there's
about the money for which, of course, we can afford the 20.
I don't think they are, because there's not that many as there is today, right? Like last season, how many scored 20? There was only like 3 or 4 players that got over 20.
First of all, you never know. You never know who's going to be a 20-goal scorer or not. I mean, look at Lukaku.
The numbers are low though. 20 is a good number, but it doesn't happen that often where teams have, there's 5 or 6 teams have a 20-goal scorer in it.
No, first of all, we normally have a striker who's scoring 20 plus goals. That's what we normally have at Arsenal.
Long time ago.
No.
Since when?
Aubameyang in his first season.
3 or 4 years ago.
Yeah.
He was 20 plus goals. And then our strikers before then were 20 plus goals. Yeah. Apart from that one season, with Giroud? I mean, we've had, off seasons here and there, but we've always had our strikers, our top striker, scoring 20 plus goals.
Yeah, like I said, I don't see it because Aubameyang came in scoring that, and there's not that many players out there scoring 20 in an easier league that are going to come into a Premier League that's tougher and do it. I expect us to score 20 goals more if we get a proper forward striker, whatever you want to call it. Just because I expect the young players to get better and us to get more clinical with what we're doing as far as more players being involved. So I can see us getting 20 goals plus as a team more than we did this previous season, not necessarily needing a 20-goal scoring striker to get there. I think
you're right, Gary.
Because the whole point is, of course, we want 20 more goals. If the whole team as a team can score 20 more goals, of course, that's great. What I'm saying is, what is lacking, you can see what is lacking when you look at our numbers, is that top goal scoring striker. We haven't had that.
Yeah.
And we're going to have more chance to talk about strikers because we're going to get into goals scored from Aubameyang and Lacazette as we move on. I'm dropping out basically to set up the timing on these clips, so bear with me. I do have another one here. Mahir arrived late into the podcast, and I was accused of leading the witness. So here we go.
We're going to keep it real. 11th place. Points finish, Mahir.
I wouldn't know. I'm just saying, I'm just being optimistic and being very positive, although I have written out actually
50 points. 50 points.
But we'll save that for
Last year we had 55 right here. So how many?
8th place was 55.
I would say
50.
yeah, 50.
He didn't get. Nobody actually kind of helped him along that.
50, yeah, 50.
You said 11th place. You're not going to score a lot of goals if you get an 11th place.
I know what that means to him.
All right. So, yeah. Mahir, I think you forgive me for saying he was not prepared for the podcast. So, and he was one of the more doubting Thomases on our panel. So he was picking 11th place, and I had to fit him in with the points that was conducive with 11th place. And Gary called me out on helping him with that.
He must have thought his mind said 50 when he heard it come out. Oh yeah, let's go with that.
Maybe I should be part of the negotiating team when we're trying to bring players in that I can use my Jedi.
Send right, yeah.
That'd be really nice.
On them.
Yes.
You will sign for us. You will.
Scamata is 35. You want 35.
All right, so I'm gonna queue up the next one. Here we go.
Oh.
Bye, Ray.
Needs to put another pound in the meter. I was just saying about what you were saying, Gary, about strikers, though. There's only 2 this season that actually hit over 20, and that was Son and Salah. Then Cristiano Ronaldo on 18.
No, I hear what Sam's saying. There needs to be like 20 clear-cut goals that a striker has for Arsenal. Whether or not they make it is one thing, but
yeah,
we just need a clinical.
I mean, the team that won the league had the highest score was 15. So
yeah,
I don't think we need it. I think it'd be nice, but I don't think we need it. We basically just need to get better with more attacking players. However they decide to do that, right? If we got 2 more attacking players, I think we'll all be happy with that. Whether or not they're strikers or not is questionable.
Well, we've gone through 4 categories. I got 2 correct. Mahir's got 2 correct. Tony's got 2 correct. Gary and Matt are on 1. Here's the next section: goals conceded. And here's what Gary said 9 months ago.
There are 35 games to go. What will we finish? What will our final goals against be with that damaging -9 already?
So, yeah, I just looked, and we were at 39 goals conceded last season. I'm already at 9 and 3 right now. So, is that supposed to be 10 times that, right? If we continue on this trend.
I hope not. Yeah, if we continue on this trend, we're getting relegated.
So I think we're gonna do a lot better than that. But wow, I'm gonna go. So I said 60 goals we're gonna score. I think we're going to concede 60 goals. So I think we're going to have we're going to have a really low goal difference this season, because I think we're going to have some good games. We're going to have some really bad games, I think. Especially, yeah. So 60.
We're going to concede 60 goals.
We've conceded 9 already. We've conceded 9 already.
We're seeing pessimistic here.
Yeah, I'm not feeling it this. Not feeling it this year. I hope I'm wrong. But actually,
we're gonna finish with a goal difference of 0. You're gonna score as many as you concede.
All right, Gary, what are you going to say about that? 9 goals conceded after first 3 games.
Is that before Tomiyasu and White were in?
Yes. You were in that mindset of having lost to Manchester City away from home. It's understandable. We were all feeling pretty bad at that point. We were 20th in the league, and that team were top of the league. Tony will
Yeah, if we didn't improve, which we did with the transfers, then 60 would have been easy, right? Based on the way we've been playing, we wouldn't have had the depth, right? You would think about it. You would have to put Marie in there a little bit more, and he already gotten beaten up by Lukaku at that point, and
absolute battle.
so I don't. 60 would have been easy if we didn't make any changes, and luckily they like the late day transfer business, which worked this time. 60 is. I don't think it's too far fetched, but
Sam,
I'm
what
glad
do
that
you think
they did better.
60 goals conceded. What do you think of that, Sam?
Yeah, I thought it was a bit pessimistic, probably, but it wasn't too far wrong, though, was it? Really? I mean, we did end up shipping out more goals.
48. Yeah, 48 was the final total.
Yeah.
I picked 46. I was not the winner of this section. Tony, you picked 52. Mahir picked 54. Gary, as we know, picked 60. Here's what Matt had to say. Matt wins this section. Here's what Matt has to say.
Tony, Mr. Hopeful. So 46 from me. Matt, what have you got goals against for us? We've already got 9.
Yeah, I think I had it lower than that before the start of the season, but obviously where we are now, I think it's going to impact on that overall. I've kind of put us down for 49.
Yeah, and 9 goals already against 2 against Brentford, 2 against Chelsea, and 5 against City have been damaging. Damaged morale, and I think it's actually been a good thing. We've gone away for 2 weeks, hopefully had a good look at ourselves, and come back fighting this month. And
yeah, so kudos to you, Matt. 49, you win that one.
That's close enough.
Just 1 goal off. And after those 9 goals conceded, it was easy to think in the 60. Yeah. Anywhere in the four.
He just did one better than me and you, Ray. Come on.
That's called better, right?
It is called better where I come from, right? So Matt gets on the board. And I will say this was a close contest all the way through. So, Gary, you're on 1, but right now we're all on 2. But it would not end there, obviously. So, Sam, that was something we struggled with, and Tony will tell you we spent a lot of money on our defense, but we struggled defending and not conceding goals.
Yeah, well, we had several issues through the season, didn't we? Where we were letting in goals, but I think we saw a decent partnership in White and Gabriel, but that they obviously worked very well together. But as soon as one of them were out, suspended or injured, that was it. It all just went to pots, didn't it? You see, our backup's not great. Holding, not really that solid. I mean, he had a decent game here and there, didn't he? But overall,
he had his moments, didn't he? He had a few good games,
but
no,
I mean, I think if we can see if we keep Gabriel and White and Tomiyasu, obviously, and Tierney, I think Tierney's a big problem really in terms of his fitness. But if those 4 are fit, then I think we've seen in the past season we have a decent defense and we have a good foundation to build on. But the problem is keeping them fit. That's going to be the problem.
Okay. The next section was we had played Chelsea and we had played City, so we had 6 games remaining against the top 4 as it was the previous season. Man United they did finish second that season. So the 2 games against United, the 1 game against Chelsea, 1 game against City, and 2 games against Liverpool. And this is what Gary had to say about how many wins we would pick up from those 6 games.
We'll win 2 of those games out of the 6. And it's going to be important for us to pick up a win here and there because we did fall pretty badly against Brentford. How many do you think we win, Gary?
Yeah, I'm just thinking. I mean, I'm going by history, and I want history to be wrong, and it never is. All right. I do agree we're probably good at least. Well, I'm gonna say negative Gary today. Yeah.
Hey, it's not hard to be negative.
That was the first appearance of Morty.
I want to be so wrong.
the first appearance of Morty, Tony, right?
I said 4 points out of those 6 games. Is that what I said?
You said you were going to have one win. We were going to have one win out of those 6 games. 2 against Liverpool, 1 against City, 2 against United, and 1 against Chelsea. As it would turn out, Gary, you picked 1. Mahir picked 3. So while Mahir was being so pessimistic about our league finish and our points finish,
I think Mahir, his whole strategy was just whatever falls in his head,
Whatever.
Talk about failing up, right?
Us winning 3 games, but not getting better than 11th place. So maybe he didn't show up because he watched this back. Tony, you were correct. You had it on 2 wins as well. I had picked 2 wins, and Matt, you had picked 2 wins as well, Matt.
Winner.
And I'm going to play Matt's in a second.
Wow. Yeah.
Byron.
Good thing at least we were getting points on the board, because at least we've not gone through every section and no one's got anything right so far.
Right,
we've
Matt,
all done okay so far.
Here's what Matt had to say. I'm sorry about this. We'll get into a normal podcast once we get through this.
Win 2 games.
When are we going to do the who got the most points thing?
Sounds like Matt here. It sounds like Matt here.
I think that is very, very simple. Just none. I think 2. I can only really potentially seeing some history, maybe picking up 1 against Chelsea and 1 against United at home. Liverpool seem to be our bogey side. I can't see us winning either of those games. And City, again, I can't see us picking up a win against them either. So I think there's only 2 real chances where we're going to win in those 6 games.
So, Matt, you nailed it. You actually picked the 2 games that we were going to win: Chelsea away from home and Man United at home.
I'll take that. I'll take that all day long.
Mahir,
he's here.
Did somebody say points? I like points. Give me some points.
There.
Oh my guys, what's happening? Everybody in the chats, what's happening?
We were talking about your predictions last year. You picked 11th place with us beating 3 of the top 4 teams in that.
Did I say 11?
Amazing stuff.
Yeah, actually 11. Yeah. What's happening, my guys?
We did better than that, Mahir. Thankfully, we didn't go that way.
Jeez. Well done, man. Well done, man. I'm just glad to see all my guys. Everybody's well. Everybody's families are good. Shout out to everybody in the chats as well. Arsenal fan circle family in the building.
Reddy says Ray must have a spare room full of tapes for future investigations.
Yeah, don't say anything bad. He's got it on tape.
In 1992.
I feel if Tony and I would join up, we would be very dangerous together, right?
The ultimate duo.
So I'm going to give myself a point, Tony a point, and Matt gets a point. So we'll update the score here. It's a little bit of fun to do that.
Jeez.
3.
I think I should get a bonus point personally for actually getting the specific games, but
that
wasn't a question.
I'm going to push the boat, and I'm going to push the button just to see if I get the extra point.
You can always ask.
But the answer is no.
You don't ask.
Please, sir. Can I have more food, sir?
Yeah, please, sir.
Please, sir.
So at this point, it's myself, Tony, and Matt are on 3 points. Mahir is 2 points, and Gary's got the 1 correct prediction in terms of City winning.
Why don't you change that to Morty? He was being Larry Morty that day.
All right, so now we're going to get into the goals that our strikers and our players would score back then. So, but
none of us will do good in this section.
Here's a little something that somebody said about our season. I think it was myself. So here we go.
but we've got no confidence that the team can prepare properly, do the right things in order to be ready for that Saturday or Sunday game, and win league game after league game like West Ham. I keep pushing that West Ham narrative, but that's what they did last season. They didn't have European involvement. They outperformed what was expected of them from their fans. And I wish Arsenal could do that this season. Let's outperform relegation fodder. Let's get up there in the league, starting against Norwich.
Okay, so Sam, I was talking about us being more like West Ham were last season, and David Moyes, who done a fantastic job with a small squad. And so what we really seen maybe is European involvement really complicates things in terms of
the squads. West Ham didn't have a very big squad, and they had European football. I think that hurt them this season. But even still, they had quite a decent season. They did well in their European competition. I think it's going to be more difficult for us next season now with the Conference League, the Europa League.
That's where West Ham is. They're in
with the Europa League, it's going to be more difficult for us that Thursday Sunday, because we remember from 2 seasons ago, every Sunday we look shit. And we had a bad season. So, we got to make sure for this summer now we have a squad that can handle, or at least on paper, the numbers to handle, a European season.
Yeah, that's going to be a big question mark for next season, is how we handle multiple competitions, because we struggled with just the one this year. So that's a big.
I think I've noticed one glaring, huge omission in so many tweets and that about the season we've just had, where everyone's like, "Oh yeah, we got 5th, which is good. Blah, we're in Europe. Great, yeah," but no one's saying we only played one game a week, and we actually had periods where we played one game a month.
Yeah.
We were through those postponed periods, game periods, and all of that. We had a season. We played, how many games we played in? 42 games or 43 games or something like that.
Nowhere near as many others.
Extremely clever.
You got a lot of 1 minute, guys. I'll be back. I need to sort out something quickly.
Yeah, we haven't had a season like that since the early 80s or something like that. This is a thing, it made that, even though we didn't have the greatest of seasons, it was certainly easier without all that extra football. Yeah. So now next season, having all those extra games is going to affect us, going away to God knows where, Timbuktu, wherever, on a Thursday, then just
Jerusalem,
have one practice session or something for a Sunday. It's going to affect us.
We have potentially, 25 games in 3 months, right? 10 of those will be, or I guess 8 of those will be traveling for Europa. He has to have a squad that's deep, way deeper than what he's experienced, what he's ever seen. And we're far away from having those numbers right now. Mm-hmm. I can understand why, one, they're going to bring back some players that we don't want, or based on how he's handled them, right? Maitland-Niles, we're not expecting him to come back, but he should, because they're not going to go out there and spend enough money to get all the depth that we need. So,
for me, and I don't want to spark a whole new debate and put this completely off in a different trajectory, but Maitland-Niles is a player we can use, and he's ours. We can just call him back. Not call him back. He's obviously back now after the season, but just say, listen, you can play a role for us this season.
He's been told that before, and he hasn't been.
So we'll definitely have that discussion, Sam, toward the end.
I just want to shout out to John the Revenite in the chat. Yeah. I haven't seen this guy for ages. Where you been, John? This guy's not been around for ages.
He's asking the same about you.
A segue to what you're saying, Sam, is the next section is Aubameyang, and he was a player we had who didn't turn up for us for ages. So I think here's something that I said about Aubameyang.
Works this season. Is Aubameyang going to step forward? Is he going to be the player that we he signed the contract that we hoped that he would be. Matt, what's your reading on Aubameyang?
Yeah, it's worrying, isn't it? You can't see. I mean, like I say, the West Brom game, he gets this. I think this is what we had last season, where he'd have a game where he looks like he's going to kickstart and he scores a couple of goals. You think, oh, hello, this might be the start of the season.
Yeah.
And then you go to the next game and he disappears, and then you don't see him again for the rest of the season. Do I think that's going to change massively this season? Probably not. I can't. I don't think he's going to get back to his old scoring ways. I think he'll have a couple of games where he grabs a couple, but I don't think he's going to improve on last year. I think was it 10 last year? I think 8's probably about right, or 10's probably about right. I can't see him improving on that.
Okay, Matt, you got really close. You were close to being the winner, but in this section, it really paid to be pessimistic. And Gary was the most pessimistic of this bunch. So, Matt, you picked 8, Matt. Tony, you picked 8 also, but guess who picked? Do you remember your lucky number, Gary?
My lucky number is 7, but I don't know.
So you picked 11, and we know Aubameyang never got past 4 goals.
That's crazy that I would even think that, right? Because we needed more. We needed at least 15 from him, right?
Yeah.
Based on the way he had played the previous seasons and stuff. So, yeah, I guess Morty. If that's my name, that's what that's what you got. And he did not. He definitely showed that was true. Yeah. I mean, he the fact that he, was so happy to leave and left early before the contract could even be printed out, much less signed, shows you where his head was, right? Yeah. He definitely wanted to be out. So,
Mahir picked 12. I picked 14, and this is the last snippet before we'll just talk about the rest of the numbers. This is what Gary said.
Tony have 8 in the Premier League only. What are you thinking, Gary?
I'm going with my favorite number. I'm going with 7. So, yeah, I can see. I mean, I was hoping that we wouldn't need as many goals from him, and he took. I think Aubameyang heard me and thought that meant he could just take some time off and not do anything. This time around, I believe we're going to have to. We don't want to. We're going to have to lean on our youth and some of our up and coming players. Like Pepe is going to have to wake up. He has to, or he sits. Or it doesn't. We're seeing. From what I saw in the preseason, it looked like Milsrud Rowe looks like he wants to shoot and score. Hopefully, Odegaard starts to pick up and he gets a little bit more scoring in there, and we can make up for the difference. It won't push us high enough, but it'll be better for us long term, right? If they start looking to score, because we're not gonna get many opportunities, and when we do, everybody who's in a position to take a shot needs to take a shot. None of this extra. We get too many touches in the box for me as a team. And this is not just this season. This is many, many seasons. We just take too many touches in the box. We get in the box, and the first thing we do is look to pass. And it's like, you know what? You don't get here too often. Put your foot through the ball and get it to the goal.
All right, Gary. So you win that section. You got a point there. But you'd rather not win the section than Aubameyang.
Yeah, but me and Matt thought he'd play the whole season, so our 8.
Worth a shout, Tony. Worth a try.
What? All right, so we're going to quickly get through the next section.
Right, Matt?
No.
Only to be fair, Tony, I didn't get a point for predicting the actual matches that we would win in those top 6. I don't think we got a hope in hell on this one.
Watching Gary listen to Gary pass Gary is a surreal experience.
Yeah, Ray records everything.
Deny everything, Gary.
Yes.
Everything.
It wasn't me.
Tony's the one who denies a lot of things, right, Tony? Well, listen, we'll move on to Lacazette, Tony. I predicted 16 goals for Lacazette. He actually got 4 goals as well. That's the
quadruple.
I predicted 16. Tony predicted 21. Tony, you had
21. He loves Lacazette. That's his boy.
You'd love to see it, wouldn't you? You'd love
Tony,
to see it.
Tony, that's your boy, Lacazette. What a shit job he did.
Matt here had him down for 15. Matt had him down for 15. And Gary, it's another section you win by being just a little bit pessimistic.
Being pessimistic does the job for Arsenal, doesn't it?
There's a trend here.
So Gary is now surging in this section.
Gary went from 1 point to 3 points in a hurry.
9 goals. He went from 1 point to 3 points very quickly, Gary.
He's pessimistic enough, you see. That's it.
Yeah.
Tony,
Well,
do you have
what this
anything?
team does to us, right?
21 goals for Lacazette. Did you speak? Was Tony high when he said that?
Yes,
I know.
probably.
He was our leading scorer
I
last
think you were
year.
high when he said that.
Kept getting
All
benched.
I was really hoping he'd step up, with being an elder. I thought he would step up this season and really put his shooting boots on.
The
But
most goals he ever got in one season was like, what, 15 for us?
yeah, usually I think it's anywhere between kind of 13 and 15, 16, something like that. That's his
So
kind of
all of a
average.
sudden he was going to go from 15 to 21 while he can't fucking hit anything.
If he was in the box, he probably would have scored many a goal off of his back leg, his butt, the back of his head, because he just wasn't in the box enough.
Yeah.
So, going from the previous season, not the one we just had, my third best striker or third best goal getter was Pepe.
Oh my god!
Our predictions for Pepe were as follows. I was predicting 14 goals.
We all had him in double digits, me and Ray.
Matt, you also had 14. Gary, you had 16, Gary. Matt here had 15, and Tony, you had 17 down for Pepe. So,
to be fair, we all thought he was actually going to play.
That's Arteta basically killing all of our predictions.
I think none of us get any points for this section.
He is such a frustrating player, Pepe, because he'll do one or two really brilliant things. Oh wow, and then like the rest of the game, he can't even fucking trap a ball. He can't. He's got the first touch of an elephant.
Yeah, but we all assumed he was a play way more than he did.
And then all of a sudden he'll bang in one or two amazing goals. Incredible. Angles on the shots, and then like the next 10 shots he'll kick it outside the stadium. I mean, it's so frustrating. He is absolutely. It's just not good enough, really.
I'll have to dig that one out, the assembled. Yeah. So by default, Matt and myself being, I don't know, the most optimistic maybe when it came to Pepe. We weren't the most optimistic. We were pessimistic in this section. But a point each for Matt and myself. Next one up was Bukayo Saka. Gary, you had Bukayo down for 10 goals. He actually finished with 11 goals. So you and Matt here won this section because both of you picked 10 on that one. So congrats, Gary. Matt, you picked 8, and Tony picked 8, and I picked 6. So we were looking for some kind of a step up from Saka, but really he carried us throughout most of the season, Sam.
Yeah, of course he did. And I think we sort of halfway expected that to happen this season, but it was going to be him and Aubameyang, we thought, but Aubameyang he left. We got rid of him. So I think when we realised we weren't bringing in another striker, I think we all sort of relied on Saka because we knew Lacazette was going to struggle. So Saka became the guy we relied on, and his 11 goals, is that in the league? He got 11 goals in the league?
Yeah, 11 in the league.
And was he then our top striker?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the last time our top striker had 11 goals, you've got to go back a long time for that. You've got to go back a long time. It's pretty piss poor.
So, Tony, I want you to remember this comment, working the numbers, okay, because we'll see what happens at the end of the day. So I want you to remember this comment. Pessimistic Tony. Next one up after is Bukayo Saka was Emile Smith-Rowe. Now this is a player that really stepped forward this season. He actually finished with 10 goals. and 2 assists. Tony, you won this section by picking 6. My hero Gary and Matt picked 5, and I picked 4. The previous season, I think he'd finished with 2 goals toward the end of the season, having come in on December 26th. We all remember that date, right? So, yeah,
But then
Tony.
the season started, wasn't
That's when the season. That was when the other season started.
it? Yeah, that's when the real season started. Yeah.
Last season started on the 4th game, right? No.
Yeah.
Well, Tony, 6 goals for Emile Smith Rowe. You predicted. He finished with 10, and his second part of the season was stunted by COVID. I'm starting to believe what you're saying there.
Yeah, I think it definitely was. He just didn't have a pace. He's coming off a bench constantly. Thought he should have got some more starts in there, but apparently he wasn't able to go.
Okay, so now there's a number of us on 4 points here, so keep an eye on the score here. 4 for me. My hero's on 3. Gary 4, Tony 4, and Matt 4.
It's very even.
Next one up, Gary, is Erdegaard, Martin, as you like to refer to him. And Sam, shout out to you. A couple of years back, you shouted out Erdegaard as a big possibility for Arsenal, and you can sit back now knowing he's an Arsenal player, Sam.
Yeah, I'm proud of that prediction. I'm proud of it because I could see it being I could see Erdegaard fitting in with Arsenal and the way we play, and he has done that very well. I think he's been an instrumental player for us this season. He does so much more than what people think he does. I don't really notice the passes and the things he does that helps us set up our play. But I think he's had a good season. Not too many goals, not too many assists either. But I think he'll improve on that. I think next season, hopefully, with some good firepower up front, he'll be getting more and more.
I thought he'd start the season better than he did. That's kind of disappointing.
He created 86 chances this season.
Phenomenal.
Really wants me to produce the tapes of you saying that Haaland was a done deal for Arsenal.
Yeah, I couldn't get Haaland over the line, guys. I tried. I offered him some extra fruitcake, and he said, is there clotted cream with that? I said no.
Was the fruitcake homemade, Sam? Was that the issue?
It wasn't homemade. I went to Tesco. He wasn't pleased. So no clotted cream. Tesco fruitcake.
You should have just
Guardiola offered him.
Spencer's always.
Sam, you should have just offered him some of your virgin blood.
If I had any left, it's all gone. They've just seen where all our resources are gone here now. I've had to use all my virgin blood. I've got nothing left. I'm down to bare bones.
So you can see Gary was not doing so well. But when we came on to the Arsenal players and being slightly pessimistic towards some and optimistic towards others, it's seen him surge to the lead here on 5 points. So right now you're in the lead, Gary.
Nice.
Mahir also picked 6 goals for Erdegaard, but 7 goals and 4 assists, 11 involvements in 36 games. We need Erdegaard to step forward, but I think he will do that next season if we have some decent strikers in there. Is going to finish off those moves as well. I think because Saka's mostly benefited from Erdegaard being there on that right.
He created the most scoring chances in the league, ahead of Kevin De Bruyne.
And it's up to the players to start putting them away then, Yeah. Next one up after that was Martinelli. Gary, you did not win this section. You only picked 4 goals, Gary.
Well, what can you do with the Brazilian Obi?
Watch what you say. That's Gary's favorite players.
No, like I said, I think he's a year behind Emile Smith Rowe and Saka. So, that's how the goal scoring panned out anyway. So, but just, I was off. I was off this once. I'm sorry.
Not as much as Matt. Matt picked 2 goals. Can you believe that, Matt?
Yeah, he's a hater, man. Matt,
very pessimistic.
We're going to have to talk to you later about this.
Iwobi, for me, just quick on Iwobi. I love the kid. Obviously, he's got such a good attitude, drive, and all of that. But at the end of the day, He's playing for Arsenal Football Club. We need to see more from him. He's been getting a lot of football, so we can't use that excuse anymore that he doesn't play. We've given him a lot of football at the end of last season, and he wasn't producing very much. So we need to see more from him.
Gary in the lead. Please don't slip up like Steven Gerrard. I was for the
I don't like that comment. I don't like that comment.
Please don't slip up. Mahir picked 10 for Martinelli, but Tony and I picked 5, so we get points in this section. Tony and I. So let me get that up.
So it's a 3-horse race.
5 for me and 5 for Tony. And Stan, we didn't get you involved last time, but we will get you involved. And whoever else wants to be involved, I think I might open it out to be more of the viewers as well. The final section is Partey. I just threw this in for shits and giggles because, right, Partey was not one who would turn up with some goals too many times.
You should have a competition of guessing how many games he's fit. That would be a good one.
That would be a good one as well. This is the final section.
You could have killed a pigeon with his shooting.
This is the final section here, so it's very important in terms of who got this one right. Okay, so Gary, do you want to guess how many goals you had Partey down for?
I'm gonna go with 5.
No, you picked 3.
Okay, good.
Matt, do you want to guess how many goals you picked?
Oh, I'd like to say I would have said 2 or 3. I hope I didn't go above that because I couldn't. I can't see how I would have thought more, but I bet I've gone for about 8 or something stupid, haven't I?
You went for 2 goals and you were actually correct.
Wow!
Partey scored 2 goals. Tony, do you remember how many goals you picked? Tony, 2. Tony, Matt, and Mahir get points in this section. So, yeah, but
he's either asking me because he's going to embarrass me because I said something ridiculous.
Tony was already on 5 points, so he gets an extra point. That's 6 points. Matt was already on 4 points. He gets an extra point. That's 5 points. And Mahir was already on 4. He gets 1. That's 5 points. So there I said, do you know who won this? Do you know who won the prediction?
Nobody wants to know.
Do you know who won the prediction?
Tony.
Tony
won it.
Oh, that's going to cause a lot of problems.
Excuse me. I am the adjudicator here, and we forgot -3 points for being from Oklahoma.
There you go.
There you go. Yeah.
That's
to be a
Oklahoma
handicap.
tax.
Give me more points.
Partey's worth the giggle, says Revenite. Okay, so that's the end of the predictions podcast. Does anyone have comments, concerns, want to debate the final score?
I don't remember having that many fucking categories.
I know Tony.
Yeah.
If Tony had not won, he'd be complaining about something, right?
Yes.
Tony?
Yeah, you got to give it to Tony sometimes.
Ray cheated me somewhere.
It's surprisingly even, though.
Yeah, that's the comment. I like that comment.
Mr. 21 goal.
He was gonna have a career year at 32 or something ridiculous like that. So
do you know what? I don't know whether that says more about Tony or whether it says more about us.
Yeah. So Tony, let's go through the ones you were right on. You picked City this time. You picked the correct team. Last year, remember famously.
I thought I picked the right team last year.
You picked the goals for. I think you were going to pick something else, but Gary picked it. You would have got a point either way. You had 2 wins for us against top 4. You got Emile Smith-Rowe, Martinelli, and Partey correct in terms of how many goals scored. So congratulations.
Cool.
Well done, Tony.
Begrudgingly.
Well done, Tony. Well done, guys. We're going to go to the real competition that means something now.
There is, yes. This is the competition. The one that I think Sam is talking about, the final scores from the upset picks. Here's the final scores. And Sam busted open with, I think, Everton beating. Who did Everton beat toward the end of the City? Who did they beat? They beat somebody big. Chelsea. Everton beating Chelsea, which Mr. Tom will tell you was fixed all day long. Sam 121 points, and Stan and myself
Tony plus 15.
joined second place. Tony, till the cows come home, will argue about Burnley those points, but it wouldn't have helped you anyway, Tony. And
well, Sam cheated getting in with late Arsenal after he.
Oh, shut your face.
Matt and Mahir joined a little bit late, so that's why they're lagging behind a little bit. So, listen, that's all. We did it in an hour. We did it in just over an hour, which is great, you know.
Cool. Congratulations.
I'm looking really, really far behind me there at Tony's score. 84 points.
Ray fucked me. He didn't give me.
What were you in the boys' school league?
Got postponed.
It seems like we couldn't let Tony bask in the glory of the predictions win. We just
You couldn't give him too much glory.
No.
Could you imagine?
Nobody needs that.
All right. Now we're going to get on to the fun stuff, right? Should we start with William Saliba? Tony, we'll start with you. William Saliba's interview this morning has come out. What did he basically say in the interview?
He basically said he's an Arsenal player for now. He's just be there for preseason. Not much different of what he said
He
before.
didn't say he's an Arsenal player for now.
Yes, he did.
Tony knows how to translate, Sam.
Look at the whole thing. He said
he's
he
an
will
Arsenal
be there
player.
for preseason.
He said he's an Arsenal player, not just for now. He said he's an Arsenal player.
He said he'll be there in the
He said I belong
preseason.
to Arsenal.
He said it's not in my hands. We'll see what happens. That's all. Read the full comment.
Because Arteta has to decide if he's going to use him. Of course he's going to use him. Of course he is.
Matt, it does seem though like Saliba is ready and he's willing and able to play for Arsenal. That's what he's saying, right?
I mean, he's done very, very well on his loan. I think he's proven that he's a very, very capable player. He's an exciting player. I think he would have more than a few suitors if we were to put him on the market. I think he's a real prospect. And I think he's one that is going to be a massive, massive bonus to have back in the squad for next season. And it's strengthened, and that is quality strength in depth. I know he's a young player, but he's a very, very good player. So I think it'll be very interesting to see how many games he plays and how many league games he plays, whether that changes the dynamic between the Gabriel and White partnership, whether we see more of Saliba in the league, or whether he's kind of kept to cup games, or it's going to be, I'm going to find that one quite an interesting one to watch and just see how that dynamic goes and how he partners with those two, and how that rotation looks like. But I'm really glad to have him back in the squad. I'm glad it's kind of been cleared up a bit. Personally, I've kind of been saying all season, I can't see him doing anything other than coming back to the team. But yeah, he's a real prospect. And I think actually he could almost end up outshining the both of them. Big player. I think he's going to be big for us. So yeah, excited to see him back.
Yeah, Sam, of course, Arteta is going to have to want to play him. He's going to have to play him as well because we have more games, right? More competition.
Well, that's it. We need a bigger squad now because of Europe. So we need more depth in at centre back. I think he'll give him a chance to start off with, like in the cups and the Europa League. He'll probably keep Ben White and Gabriel together at the beginning of the season. But if Saliba shows he's anywhere near what he was doing in France, and then it starts showing what he's good for, I can't see Ben White getting much of a look in. I mean, if you think Gabriel playing at his best, and you think Saliba is even better than that, and you got Saliba and Gabriel playing together, two absolute beasts, tall, strong, really quick. Saliba's really quick as well. I mean, much quicker than Gabriel, and good in the air. I mean, this kid could really be our next superstar, really, in defence. I know I'm saying a lot now, but seeing what he's been doing in France and his potential, wow. So it would be crazy for Arsenal, absolutely crazy, if they didn't use him. I mean, you've got this kid. He's your player. He's developed now. You've used him abroad in France. He's played for Marseille. He's got all that experience now. He was the player of the season, a young player of the season in France. I mean, if Arteta decides he's going to hold a grudge against him, which I can't see happening now because so much time has passed and they've worked this stuff out. But if he did something ridiculous as sell Saliba, and then what? You're going to go and get what? A Bertie Mee or a fucking what were you going to go out and get? And you've just sold one of the biggest prospects in Europe in defence. I mean, that would just be. I would start riots for that. I mean, that's just crazy. So he's at Arsenal. He's going to be getting a chance. I think Arteta and them rate him now, and he's going to be getting a chance.
Gary, this cannot be a Pepe situation, right?
We said it last year, and it happened. And now we've got, you know what? I always go by the trend. The trend says he's going to screw this up again. All right, and hopefully he screws it up with Eddie and not with William Saliba. I mean, 70 games played, all of them have helped us get to where he is. I fear that he's just going to come back and not sign a contract with us. That's the thing I do fear. But he's going to play well enough to put himself out there. I think that's what he wants, especially being on the French team. He's going to want to keep a spot on there, right? So he's going to be playing balls out, I think, which I think is what we need. And Arteta has to rotate those three players. He has to. I mean, there's just even if he has to play three at a time, but he needs to rotate them, especially when we get into that 8-week or a 10-week stretch where we got to play Europa League games, Yeah. Or I think it's a 2-month period where we have to play all the games. So
all Europa Leagues have to be finished before the World Cup.
But I think there's like an 8-week period or something like that. All those games will be happening. So those are midweek games. So he needs to be rotating. Starting game one, like thinking about like who's going to be playing at that point, so that there's no drop off. Right? We need no drop off in our defense. We've got 3 quality players there. They need to play. So he needs to figure that out. Well, hopefully Albert will do that, help him out with that, because I feel like Albert's the one that can help him in those situations when it's required. But it's for me, I'm happy he's back. I didn't like the fact that he had a video or he wanted to do an interview for it. It seemed kind of weird to me that you have to do a video to basically say you're just going to do what you're supposed to do, which is, honor your contract and come back and play and all of that. I guess that's probably the new age thing, but
there were some doubts, weren't there? I mean, if he was going to stay at Arsenal, he could have announced he's going. Or something like that.
Yeah. So that's what was concerning me about the whole the interview thing. But otherwise, I'm happy he's back. Like if he's gonna do what he's been doing so far, improving, I think, like you said, Sam and everybody else, I think is thinking we should have a solid, back 3 players that we can rotate in and out, no drop off, because we know with height of Saliba and the little bit of the skills that White brings, we're not gonna lose much, and that actually allows. That will allow, hopefully, our wing backs or fullbacks to just bomb down the field, right? Because we're going to have a little bit of solidity behind them when they do that, because we're going to have better speed and big players. Nothing in the air is going to get through, right? It shouldn't happen, right? If you're playing Saliba and Gabriel, everything in the air gets shot down, basically. And then Ramsdale hopefully is recharged and ready to go, and that would be a solid, little trifecta there with those 3 players sitting in front of the goal. Got to be a nice thing to have. So
I think they can bail out the fullbacks at certain points as well, depending on how many games Tierney's going to play or Tommy S is going to play, our first choice fullbacks. I think they can bail them out a little bit more. And all the big clubs rotate 2 from 3, 2 from 4. We're forgetting about Rob Holding a little bit. Tony, a few years ago when we started this thing, we were talking about Colonel Mustard. We were talking about who are the other clowns at the back. You know what I mean? Papa, he was there as well. So we have better talent as our central defenders.
Yeah, I'm still kind of white. Not really convinced by him yet. Still think we paid too much for him. The English tax on him. Holding's not good enough in a backup, and we'll see what happens with Saliba.
Tony's not committing too much. He's waiting for mistakes to happen, things to happen.
Well, he's checking in and what's going on, and what is he checking on there?
I was seeing what he actually said. He said, "I belong to Arsenal. I still have 2 years left. I'll be there for preseason. I have played 0 matches with Arsenal, and I want to show them what I'm made of."
Yeah,
Sounds like somebody who wants to show them
that
what he's
doesn't
made of.
depend on me on any case. So
he's saying all the right things, Matt. I mean, he's telling basically Arteta he's ready to go. He's willing to play for the club, and he just needs to be picked now.
Yeah, I think that's what you want to hear from a player. Isn't he? He's gone out on loan. He's kind of mastered his craft a little bit more. He's tweaked his skill set and kind of learnt a lot. And now you want him back for pre-season, raring to go and ready to prove himself. He wants to fight for a place. And be part of that starting 11. So that's good to hear. He wants to fight for a place. He's not talking about, other clubs or, feeling like he's going to be a bit part player. It's very clear he wants to be right up there in the mix and fighting for first team football. So, and that's what you want. And, a club like Arsenal, you need competition and you need that fighting mentality. You want that kind of fighting competitive spirit between your players because you want them to all be wanting to fight for that space. That's how you get, a good grit mentality and performances out of people. So, yeah, nobody can be lazy this season. Nobody can sit back on their laurels. You want players looking over their shoulder thinking, if I mess up, I've got someone behind me ready to fill the space. So, yeah, it's a good thing. It's a good thing.
Sam, the Assemble said for Saliba to make that team, Arsenal have to play 3 at the back. I don't necessarily agree with that. There can be
no, don't, because he can go in. He can slide in. He can slide in Ben White's position, play the right side of the central defenders. He could probably play left as well. To be honest, he's that versatile. We don't need to go to a back 3.
A lot to start the season for Marseille.
We don't need to go to a back 3. And also another thing he asked the Assemble, why would he sign a new contract at Arsenal? Well, that depends on what happens this season. I think if he gets to play some games and quite a few games, and it goes well, and if we qualify for the Champions League, show progress again, I think why wouldn't he sign a contract? Yeah, we could offer him the money he wants. He's at Arsenal. He's doing well. Why wouldn't he? Now, of course, that is based on things going well. If everything goes fucking pear-shaped and he gets injured, doesn't play, Arteta falls out with him and we have a shit season or whatever, of course, then all that changes, doesn't he? But if things go hopefully as planned, then why wouldn't he sign a contract at Arsenal?
Yeah.
His whole development until now, I think, has been based on him playing at a higher level as many games as possible, which he hasn't. I don't think he would have got at Arsenal. That's what Arteta's been hinting at. So, yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, there will be rotation in the team as well. And do you think it's very hard to know how he's been managed?
Dude, I need that charger.
Is he coming up to 2 years?
How many percentage have you got?
Contract, when's his contract up?
Sorry, I need the charger.
Yeah, I think his contract goes in 2025, isn't it? Yeah.
Okay, so next summer they'll be talking about signing a new contract.
It's still fucking crazy. He's a homegrown player now. Hasn't played one match for us.
He's gonna eat the Chaos Emerald, and then we're gonna sign all the players.
Yeah.
And then we're gonna sign all the players if he eats the Chaos Emerald, right?
Well, that sounds good. Did I take the Chaos Emerald?
Whatever that emerald is, eat it.
Mahir, if you want to go and enjoy family, that's absolutely fine.
My phone is gonna die.
If you don't want to.
No, I have to be around for a little bit. I look after the guys the whole day. All my tinies, I look after them the whole day. So I deserve a little bit of a break, and if I need to use the charger, I need to use the charger, fam.
So, Mayor, what's your thoughts on William Saliba? And did you see the interview and the quotes that he came out with today?
Apparently, he said he wants to come and fight for a place.
Yeah.
I'm open for that. Gabriel, guys, Gabriel and Saliba, I think would make a ill backline. Back two.
Yeah.
Of the four, please, by all means, start. He's still gonna eat it. Okay, that's.
Behind him.
Yeah, but I'm talking to my friends. Eh? Okay. Okay, this guy's super high. Okay. Mamu's talking to his friends. Yeah. I'm talking to my friends.
Now we're talking to his noob.
No, they're not noobs. They are. I'm the noob.
You're just no.
Holding fights Matt, but the question is showing fight and having the right qualities is two things.
Yeah, do you know what? I like Holding. I think he's a bit up and down, but I think that's partly down to the amount of games he gets. It's hard to be consistently good when you're not consistently
He's not
playing.
good enough.
But he's had some good games, and he has had some good performances for us. I think he's done as well as you could probably ask someone to do, given the amount of games he's had. But long term, he's not the level of quality that we need, to be competitive for top four spaces. Good to have him in the background if you need him for kind of the odd European game, or if you've got a bit of an injury problem, he's okay to slot in there. But yeah, absolutely. You want the likes of Saliba coming back and filling those spaces. Holding's just not that level. So I wouldn't necessarily want to get rid of Holding. He's good to have around, but he just wouldn't be anywhere near the first 11 unless there's a bit of a catastrophe going on.
Well, we need depth, right? We're going into a European season now. We need depth. So I think we can keep Holding as a backup to, behind as a third choice, basically, right?
Yeah. Stephen OT is given a likely scenario. Saliba makes a couple of mistakes. Arteta frees him out of the team, goes on a loan and leaves for free. Stan is going the opposite way. Saliba comes in, hits the ground running, and keeps either White or Gabriel.
You know what he's going to make mistakes. That is, forget about it. Everybody who plays, unless you're Van Dijk, everybody makes mistakes on the back line. So
White and Gabriel make mistakes. We're going to freeze them out as well. We can't just freeze
no, and exactly. Gabriel for me made some terrible mistakes that weren't even like he put himself in a situation, he put the team in a situation, and every time we paid for it. So he cannot keep doing that. These players have talent. He needs to play them. You know what? They need to work through it, right? If he's gonna play Saka 38 games because he has nobody behind him, he's got somebody behind White and Gabriel right now. Right? He's got, at the least, that's what he has. So they don't have to play all the way through, but it'd be nice to rotate them in and out the squad, right? Like Emil Smith-Rowe can come in. We're not going to see a drop in performance. We might get different, get strengthened in one area over another, but we don't see a big drop. Right now, when you go to Holding, I don't think it's the same. I think Holding for me is similar to an El Neni in the sense that he's one of our 21 to 25th players on the squad. We're going to get something out of him once in a while, but we can't depend on him, and he's not the future, right? He's not the future for a Champions League team for sure. Going forward, if we continue to progress. So I think he can. If he screws up Saliba, I don't know. Does that mean the French market is done? Right, because he's the last one, I think. Right, everybody's been saying we can't keep a French player on our squad. He's like the best one we're gonna ever get if he doesn't work out. So
look at you got Mbappe, you got Messi, you got some good players in the French league, but once you get out of the top 3 or 4, the strikers you're going to face in the Premier League are not the strikers you're going to face in Ligue 1 is not the strikers you're going to face in the Premier League. The likes of Haaland, Salah. Maybe
you did go against Mbappe, who some would consider one of the best forwards and attacking players in the world, right? So he has played against some of the best.
That's 2 fucking games, Gary.
It does, but he has played against them. He's got some experience against them, and he's played a lot. Right?
He played about every game, didn't he? Played every game for Marseille.
That's what we want, right? Arteta cannot screw this up, but he can. You know what I mean? He can't screw it up because he's got what he wants. A player that wasn't ready, now is ready. Let him play. right? Let him play.
Yeah.
Let's figure this.
And-
He shouldn't have to
and-
worry about the back line now in terms of
We-
depth. He's got it.
Arteta needs to get past this thing about him as well, that if it's not his player and you make a mistake, then you're kind of finished. I hope that's not the case. I hope it's proved.
Yeah, well, Xhaka makes mistakes all the time. It's not his player, so that doesn't make sense. Does it?
Yeah. The other thing, Sam, is does it have to be Gabriel and or White or Saliba? It could be White and Saliba play as well.
Well, it depends on who does the best job, right? I think that's what it comes down to. How much you'll get to try both pairings, I don't know. We'll have to see. For me, I have this feeling it'll be Saliba and Gabriel because I just think Gabriel, despite some of the mistakes he's made, is still the better player, better than White, and gives us more in defence. And I think him and Saliba, when Saliba's even better than Gabriel, I mean, to me that could be a really solid, good partnership.
The one thing we'll have to overcome is the perception that Ben White can play out from the back better than
Saliba's even better than him. I saw the way he was playing for Marseille. I mean, okay, you call it the French league, whatever, but the way he was playing the ball out from the back, it just looked really good and it looked much better than what Ben White is doing.
Benjamin.
Anyone else got any points to make on Saliba before we move on to the next one and Gabriel Jesus? Any other final points in Saliba? We just want to see it work now. We want an Arsenal player to actually play a competitive game for Arsenal. And
we'll see him in America probably. Yeah, we'll see him in the
US. And I don't care about bantering Tony about it. I just want to see it. Well, I do a little bit.
You still have to see
I'm
him
quite
play
tired
a
of.
competitive match for us, Ray.
We have to see.
I'm
him
quite
play
tired of the 50 mil that we could have saved and possibly bought an attacker with, rather than fixing the defense, and then we fix the defense
by allowing more goals.
Gabriel was our top goal scorer.
Yeah, come on, fam.
5 goals. You can't really keep that out of the team if Gabriel is stepping up every season.
He's awesome. Gabriel's awesome. On his head, he's awesome. He's awesome in corners.
Yeah.
Just needs to temper his mentality a little bit sometimes.
Yeah. We shall see what happens. I think we did fix the defense with our signings last season. It didn't show up in the stats because of our fullbacks in that situation.
Yeah.
I think our wingbacks that were fullbacks.
Yeah.
When you look at that, when we played with White, Gabriel, Tomiyasu, and Tierney, we were solid. We were playing very solid football, and we didn't let in many goals. We struggled with scoring because we know up the other end we were lacking, but in defence we were looking pretty solid. And then when the injuries came in and suspensions, then things went to shit. But we have a good defence when everyone's playing.
Yeah, Revan, he scored 5 this season, so the most central from a central defensive position. So that's William Saliba. Hopefully we get to see him preseason and we get to see him in competitive games. I have a feeling he's going to have to be part of the cup setup to start with, but then hopefully he forces himself into the team. And we'll see what happens with Saliba, an Arsenal player still. Next one.
White didn't score any goals this year in the Premier League for us.
He did not. And, you play Gabriel, you play Saliba. I'm thinking you'll get probably 8 goals from those two playing.
Kerry?
Yes, sir.
Kerry?
He did score. Didn't he have an own goal or 2?
Sorry, sir. Correct yourself when you say White. It's Sir Benjamin.
Not yet. Not the way. He hasn't deserved that. He doesn't deserve that yet.
Button.
Sir
Benjamin Button.
Benjamin Butthole.
Benjamin Button.
My hero.
What about his old bird, Sam?
Start off with you with Gabriel Jesus. What do you think?
Oh, bring him in. Bring him in, Sam. Bring him in. Nothing over 40. I would prefer that we had actually started off a bid on 25 mil. and just brought it up to 30, and then like that be max, because 50 is way too much. 40 is 40 is overpaying still, and yeah, man, 35. Gary really got scared by himself.
What about with 200,000 a week?
The boogeyman.
Is that too much?
Tony, to be honest with you, 200 a week is a hell of a lot. I don't understand how they jumped it up from 110. They could have gone with about 140, and I'm sure they would have been able to negotiate on 140 per week. I don't know, but 200 is a lot. Bro. Like after 5 weeks, you're telling me you have earned $1 million.
You start it low, then do it based on performance bonuses. I don't know why they just go straight out and pay
$1 million every 5 weeks. So that's 10 times 1 mil. That's 10 extra million. Jeez.
We have the accountants at it.
I thought Rain was Rain Man.
Tony, what's your thoughts? I mean, I'm going to go.
Like I said, was 140 grand a week.
Yeah. He was getting close to 200 at the end of his contract.
Like I said, the fucking flop of all flops, getting 140k a week, and here we are complaining about 190k a week for Jesus, who
so Sam,
10 times better than what Lacazette is.
I'm not going to name names. I'm not going to name names, Sam, but it's none of us. But there's people tweeting about, thanks for your service, Lacazette. But yet they are tweeting about Arteta and mediocrity. And I don't get it.
Man.
You know,
Ray, that's lovely that you brought that up.
I'm
so glad you brought that up.
Great that you're going to back an Arsenal player and wish him well. But let's face it, Lacazette really never improved us.
Yeah. Unfortunately, he just wasn't the guy.
He had some useful elements of his game, but he never really had the full
second
package.
choice, wasn't he? I think it was Higuain we wanted, and we couldn't get him, and then we went for Lacazette instead. Yeah.
Yeah, that's mad, Rivenite, bro. You don't have to watch football on your spare time if you're a footballer. I know.
Well,
but Benjamin, ask Benjamin what he thinks.
For me, if we have to take Gabriel and we have to pay him what we've been paying Lacazette, I'm still okay with that. It's not great.
Gabriel's well worth it.
Yeah, I mean, I'd love to.
Gabriel's a future superstar.
You're upgrading the position.
Yeah,
I think he'll do great. I've got a really good feeling about him as a player. I think he's worth it. I think with Odegaard there, Emil Smith-Rowe, Saka feeding balls through to him, he's the type of player that will get you goals. 100% get you goals. He's one of the signings I'm potentially really excited about.
Yeah. He's really picked up this. I mean, there was a couple of seasons there. He was looking a bit mediocre. Like, what's he really doing?
Yeah.
You know. But this last season, he's been on fire.
Yeah.
Yep.
There's just something about him, I think, in the right team, and I think as the main man, so to speak, I think he'd do very well.
I think he's got his finishing. I think he's finally got his finishing boots on, because he was struggling a lot with finishing. I remember like 2-3 seasons ago, he wasn't really putting them away, but now he's scoring a lot. You know, it's and doing well for Brazil as well. So it's interesting.
The thing about Jesus is that Pep Guardiola picks him for the big games. He rotates a lot, but he does pick Gabriel Jesus for the big games. I
think if Jesus can score goals and do well for Manchester City, then he should do well for us. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. Gary, what's your thoughts on it? The Revenite says here it's only because of where Arsenal are, Sam. If it's another club, he couldn't demand to double his wages if he would have got 150.
I kind of feel like he's in a good situation right now. So other teams. What team is he going to leave City for and get 150? I don't think the 40. If it's 40k difference, he's just going to run and do it. I think you're going to have to pay a little bit because of the situation he's in. So we need. I've been saying this. Any player that we bring in needs to be better than the ones we have, and he would be better than pretty much everybody up top for us. Yeah. Can you name a player better than him?
I think Jesus at the moment is probably, in my opinion, I think Jesus is probably the best option
that we can get.
Yeah. I mean, I can't see any other striker who's had a better season that we can get. You know.
Yeah. Hey Sam, Sam,
Attainable.
how's this for the second choice? Bring in Ivan Toney as
I
well.
like Ivan Toney. I like him. He's got a lot of potential. He really does. At Brentford,
Come
he
on.
doesn't really get to show his best at Brentford. I think for us, he could show a lot more, but he would have to be behind Jesus for me. He would
Yeah.
have-
Let
Yeah,
me
but I
throw
mean, just those
something-
two, like for rotation the whole time.
Different
Well,
option, though, isn't it?
let me throw something out of you then. Maybe you've got Jesus and we got Eddie in there already. Okay.
No.
No, hold on.
Ooh.
Do you want specifically another striker or do you want another forward? I think Gary mentioned it on Thursday.
Ray, I'm gonna ask you something. Let's see if you can answer this one.
Doesn't
Do you
work
want
that
a
way.
striker that's absolutely trash, that has one good game in 15 games and it's call me? We're gonna go get the real call me, which is Gabriel Jesus. Okay? I got
Yeah.
you.
But Stan wants another striker. Could we get another forward?
We
instead of another
only
striker?
have one. We only have one right now, so we need two strikers. However you want to call it, 9 forward, inside forward, whatever you want to call
11.
it. We need two players.
What number is it, Tony?
Yeah.
11, 7.
All safe.
All
Yeah,
safe.
no, but we definitely need more
Laca was
goals
playing.
coming from up top, right? So
Yeah.
that's the only way we should have got a striker last season somewhere, but we didn't. But we need to get two
We
now.
could have, but we dragged our heels.
Yeah.
Now we're not going after that player at all.
We
so-
need, Samuel says, Stan, why Arsenal play crossing the ball into the box? We need aerial power for that sort of tactic. Jesus is an upgrade on Lacazette, but the same problems will persist. So Samuel's talking about a plan, famous plan B, right? And Ivan Toney, which I like Ivan Toney as well. I think
Yeah.
he has a decent goals to games ratio. You know,
And he's the young one that we can, like, like how they say, the next upcoming one.
Yeah.
But for now, we'd have Jesus as the experienced. And then obviously you bring in Tony when Jesus is struggling a bit or needs rotation but burnt out. You bring in Tony and you give him the experience. I mean, bloody hell. Imagine the two, or you could play them as a two, as Revenite said.
Revenite said Tony and Jesus together.
Is
we
Tony
definitely
actually a legitimate? Is he a legitimate transfer prospect that's out there? Is this a Ben White situation where we're gonna have to spend
it's gonna be
70 to get him? Because why would they want to sell him? Right? There's no need at this point. Huh?
Who are you talking about now?
Tony.
Ivan Toney.
No, I mean I don't think they need to sell him, but I don't think you need to bid, a huge number to get him. But he's valuable. He's a good player.
30.
Probably
30
50
should
million
be.
will get him.
But 30 should be good enough. I think Sam 50 is a bit much. 50 is a little bit.
I think Brentford will want more for him, looking at market value and stuff. I don't know.
Oh, Tony, yeah. Tony. More or less about 35, maybe.
Yeah, they're talking about the English tax. The Ravenite is.
Yeah, it's that as well, isn't it? It's English and all that. It always costs more than an English player.
Matt, he seems to be the type of forward that's going to press. He presses really well.
So we talk about Jesus because I know we talked about Tony and
Jesus.
Yeah, I think he's a very Arsenal type. He's in the Arsenal mold, isn't he? And I think obviously well drilled under Pep. I think he'd fit in very, very well. Obviously, Arteta will have known him.
I understand.
I'm sure from his time at City. So I think it's a very, very good option. Like Sam says, of who's available and who we're realistically going to be able to go in and get in this kind of market now. I think he's a fantastic option. I think it wouldn't take him a long time to fit in with our style of play. I think his numbers will improve. But I think, when you talk about the likes of Ivan Toney, that's for me where I think, we can't afford to just go and get one. We do need a second alternative plan B option. It's great having, a nippy kind of clinical finisher. Great. That helps. But we also need that option who can get a head on a ball from a corner or a cross. Because we're sticking balls in left, right and centre into the box, but no one can get the bloody head on it. Apart from Gabriel. We can't seem to get a head on it. So we to have that option and to have a plan B, where games aren't quite going for us, or maybe we're not getting a lot of possession, and actually it is a game where we're just sticking a few balls in the box where we can and get down the wing. To have that option to be able to threaten aerially would be a really good thing for us. So it'd be a bit frustrating if we didn't maybe go out and get someone like an Ivan Toney or someone, a bit taller who can get their head on things. But we'll see how they go. I wouldn't want us just to see, a diminutive striker come in. I'd want to see both. I'd want us to be fully prepared for all eventualities.
Stan is saying Ivan Toney got 12 goals in 33 games, but he also got 5 assists. So that's
but that's playing for that's playing for Brentford at the bottom of the league.
That's what I
if you've got to remember, if you put him in a team with good players around him, you're going to get more out of him. And it's just you watch him play, you can just see there's so much ability there in him. He's still, he's still rough around. He's still rough around the edges. He's still missing a few chances he shouldn't. But you watch him play, he's got so much ability, and he's tons better than watching Danny Welbeck. I mean, I know what you're trying to say.
And Eddie and Katie, nah.
No, but if you're going to spend 50, wouldn't you spend 50 on the Italian striker then?
I don't know much about him. I don't know much.
I also don't know much about him.
No,
I just heard his power in his shots.
Gary
is a bit crazy.
You should be shy about saying that because of Vlahovic. Haven't you learned Italian strikers don't come here?
No, but supposedly if it's 50, he's coming. So, yeah. I mean, he wants to stay in Italy, but nobody wants him right now, right? So, if 50 closes the deal, then you do it, right? If you're going to go up to 50 for a striker, right?
Well, another thing with Toney is he's a Premier League player. We have this issue where you're going to be spending 50 million on an Italian who might come to the Premier League and just shit the bed.
Yeah, that's the same thing with Vlahovic, right? I mean, he was Italian. Everybody was happy with that.
Yeah, of course, because we're looking at these players who look good, have good stats, etc., etc. And yeah, I mean, okay, I would give him a chance. I'm not against bringing him in. Listen, I don't know much about him, but I'm reading a lot of good things about him. And if he's the player again, I'm going to get behind him, and hopefully he's going to be good. But I'm just saying, in terms of you're looking at risk, Ivan Toney, if he's a bit cheaper, Ivan Toney's also Premier League proven. I think we could probably get more out of Toney quicker than we could this Shamaka or whatever his name. I can't remember his name.
Shamaka.
Chewbacca. It's Chewbacca.
I hear it, but it just doesn't seem like
he's the best from Team Ewok.
Yeah, no, I hear you, but it doesn't seem like we go that route where we're gonna go pull players from Premier League teams. I mean, I feel like there's a couple of players from Burnley I would like to bring onto the squad because we need that kind of depth, those kind of players that will play the toughness that we would bring. Right?
Wow.
So
I have one from Southampton, Gary.
Huh?
I have one from Southampton actually also. That I feel would suit the midfield. I'm sure you guys know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
James.
Mr. Ward-Prowse.
James Ward-Prowse.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got good.
Even Salisu was a good player as well.
Jesus definitely wouldn't be my number one target.
Okay, Jesus would not be your number one target. I think it's the most.
8 goals in 28 games. That's not enough.
You don't watch him play though, do you? For fuck's sake.
Put him in. I tell you what, Tony. Put him in week in, week out, and our front line, and he'll get you a damn sight more than that. I can assure you. I would be very surprised if he didn't.
He got 8 in 28, and like you said, he's not even a starter for them in a number of those games that he played. Right, and we got 9 or whatever it is, 13 from our strikers this year.
He scored 4 goals in one game.
Right, so we're not really. He definitely adds more to the team than we've had. So we need to bring in more goals and more opportunities, and he does both of that.
He also had 8 assists, so that's 16 goal involvements in 28 games. For me, that's not bad numbers. Yes, the goals are a little bit low. I do see him getting on the end of things that Martinelli would create, that Saka would create, and Odegaard would create for him. So
he's a good finisher. He really is.
We had well documented problems with our strikers last season. We couldn't.
Yeah,
couldn't
I'd
decide
still
which
go
one-
for our number one target from last summer.
What's that?
Said I'd still go for our number one target from last summer because
Who was that, Tony?
Inter's going for another striker. But Toro is available for 60 million euros, 21 goals.
Yeah, isn't that what
Good for you.
Lacazette was going to score this season? Now you're going to move your favoritism from Lacazette to Lautaro. Anything else about Gabriel Jesus? I think he'll improve us. I think it's the most attainable. I think it's probably going to get done mostly
Agree.
because of the Arteta links with the player and being there at City before. Okay, move on to Serge Gnabry.
Oh yes. Oh.
All right, Sam. Since you're showing enthusiasm, we'll go with you.
I like him. He's he's got a lot of ability. He hasn't been used that much by Bayern, unfortunately, because they've got just a plethora of young, incredible footballers, attacking footballers. That team is amazing. But I tell you what, Gnabry, if he wants to come back to Arsenal, I would take him in a heartbeat. He is absolutely. He can. At his best, if he gets a run of games, he can be really, really good. And he can play across the whole front line, right? He can play left, he can play right.
Yep.
He gives us so many options, when players are not available or whatever, rotation, all of this, He can give us so much. And Gnabry is a real baller. So if we can get a deal done with Bayern Munich and he wants to come back home to Arsenal, there's absolutely no brain cells that need to be used to make that decision.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gary, this is about sentiment from the player, and he's talked a little bit about it's not necessarily the money, although the signs we're getting from Bayern tell us it might be about the money.
Yeah, they're offering all that money. I mean, we're not offering that much, right? So, like you said, if it's meant to be, go ahead and do and get it done. Let's move on to the next one, right? So he's a really good player. We're bringing him in. He comes back home. Maybe
Gary's ready to press the button on sign.
Yeah, we've got players that should be done, right? Come Tuesday, supposedly, we'll know a lot about Jesus and Gnabry. I think same thing. So by the end of next week or this time next week, we should be laughing because hopefully the 2 players we bring in or 3 players that we bring in. So Serge would be a really good one for us to bring in. I would love to see that. Do it. That's just that. Is that easy?
In terms of the Saka comment from John, I know what you're saying there, John, but I think it's a good thing that Saka would get a bit of a rest now and again, because he needs it. He's been just playing too much football. He's playing for England now. He's probably going to be playing the World Cup for England. He's going to be playing so much football. It's going to be good for him to get a bit of a rest. And Gnabry can play out left as well. We can have him out left instead of Martinelli or Smith Rowe. And leave Saka out right as well if needed. That's the flexibility we can have.
They could play in the same lineup as well. Saka right.
Yeah. There's no rush. There's no rush. He's not a Messi or Ronaldo where you're like, oh, you're gonna hold him back. No, he doesn't need to be where we want him to be tomorrow. We've got if we can rotate him in so that I'll keep saying it. You guys heard me say it before. 2 to 3 years from now is when we want prime Saka. He'll be able to play all 38 games in the season plus Champions League and all that kind of stuff but we don't need it today. We're asking a lot of these players, right? We've seen it. We've talked about this with our famous midfielder, right? So no, we don't need to push it. So it'd be nice to be able to rotate players in and out like we see City do, and to drop off is nothing, right? Another player in that spot would be really nice. Think about it. We got 5 or 6 players we can rotate around in 3 or 4 spots depending on what we're thinking about doing. Do it. It's easy. It's easy.
The window's got to be right, as Gary maybe intimated here. 2 years from now, we got to be prime Saka. We got to be regularly at that time, and 2 years from now, at least in the Champions League, 1 season. That is, qualify for it this coming season and be in it to win it. And hopefully Liverpool and City, they lose their way a little bit. That's going to be tough. But that's got to be the plan, right?
Yeah, I think. Well, just back on
Yeah,
Gnabry for a second.
Yeah.
Gnabry for a second. If you're talking about players where Edu and Arteta were saying about established top quality players that are going to take us to the next level, that is a prime example of a player that's going to do just that. He is an established top quality player that is exciting. And he, like the guys you've all said, the variety and the depth that gives you, the ability in terms of options of playing all across that front line. That, like I say, Sam said, it's a no-brainer decision. If you want to bring in that quality, which we absolutely need, then go for him. 100% go for him. But like I say, it's whether we're willing to pay the money, because like I say, the money that Bayern have kind of put on the table is a lot. So if he's turning that down, then it's just whether we're going to fork out that kind of cash. But is that going to ultimately be our statement signing for the season potentially?
Is this why we cleared all the wages? The cynics out there will say Kroenke's wanted to clear all the wages to save money. Now we've got some room to spend. Shouldn't we be doing that?
I think so. I think, like you say, we have cleared a massive amount of money off our wage bill. So let's go and use some of that money and get the right players in. So, yeah, it's quite possible that they will do that. You'd like to think that, they've learned their lesson from just spending stupid money on stupid players that we don't need and giving silly being a retirement home for Chelsea pensioners, actually using that money wisely. And actually going and getting the right ones. And I think if you're going to, I don't mind if they spend a huge amount of money as long as they're doing it on the right players. And I think he's probably one of those that I don't think anyone would really have a big problem with us going and doing that at all. Would you be
paying Nketiah $100,000 a week, man?
Nketiah $100,000 a week?
I wouldn't know.
Do you know what I have to say about that, guys? I've got one nice song. Oh, hell no. Oh.
He's been down the karaoke.
Wow, that's pretty good.
You say that.
My hair wins the karaoke contest.
He wins the
No, guys, it's my favorite thing to say. It's my favorite thing to say when I hear something so ridiculous. It's just, oh, hell no.
The games he's played, guys, I think we talked about this before in the sense that, I've never been a massive fan of Nketiah. And I didn't think he was particularly all that great. But actually, I think what he's proven at the end of this season is actually that if you give him a good run of games in a team, he will score you goals. He won't necessarily be the most efficient of strikers in terms of the number of chances he gets.
My guy, come on.
but he will score you goals if he plays consistently. His numbers actually aren't that bad for the amount of games he's played. So it's a gamble, I think, to give him that much. But it does.
Freddie
mean
Mercury doing underneath
like
there?
Stuff is a bit more difficult because then, if I'm going to be pushing for much, much more than that. So and I know Saka's in two minds, isn't he? He's like, well, he wants a break clause in his deal or something, doesn't he?
Clause. Yeah.
So it makes negotiations more difficult if you're giving him that kind of money. But we'll see. It could be a gamble. It could be a silly one that we all look back on and go, "Why did you give him Nketiah?"
Yeah, I just took a look because we're talking about Jesus and the amount of goals he scores and whether he starts. When he plays over 60 minutes, he scores. That's when you're going to get him scoring. So he didn't score when he subbed much. So that's why he needs more game time. He's going to get
Nketiah for me is you can definitely keep him as a backup. Someone who can play if someone else is injured, if they're injured, suspended, whatever.
He's not first choice.
He's not. His third for me. His third choice is okay for him because I don't want to get rid of him because there is a talent there. You saw that at the end of the season. I agree with Matt.
A little bit more, right, Sam?
I agree with what Matt said. You could see at the end of the season there is something there in him. It's just he can't be starting games for us now. Not if we're gonna go where we want to go. He can't be starting it. He can be third choice, and a third choice striker for me. When he's done what Nketiah has done, which is very little, You can't be on 100 grand a week. It's ridiculous. But football is ridiculous now. Football's become ridiculous. I mean, what players are getting and what they can do with their contracts is ridiculous.
And Kenny are getting paid the same as Sadio Mane, but that's
I doubt that.
When you put it in that bracket, that is ridiculous.
I seriously doubt that. I seriously doubt Mane's contract to Liverpool is 100k.
That's why he wants out. I think a large part of it is the cash part of it and being valued as much as Mohamed Salah.
Yeah.
You know.
I mean, I think some would say that when they were really good, he was one of the reasons why. As much, I know Salah scores goals, but he does a lot of the other stuff that they'll get stats. You don't get the stats for. I mean, he was for me a bigger threat and put a lot of pressure on that back line, open things up for them. So, for me, I always thought there was a little bit of conflict between the two of them. So, maybe this is how he gets out of there anyways.
There is. There's that the best African footballer as well. And Sadio Mane, he's turned up with Senegal, going to the World Cup and winning the AFCON as well. So there is a little bit of that going on, I think, in the team. And that's why he's acting a little bit strange in social media. Sadio Mane wants to leave Liverpool to cement his status, I would think, and maybe chase that Ballon d'Or.
Well, at some point, you're going to have those Liverpool players they're going to want the new challenge, I think, right? They've won the league multiple times, they won the FA Cup, they've done the Champions League, right, with Liverpool. They're going to want a new challenge at some point, right? And then that rebuilding process is where, unless they do really well with their recruiting again and get players to come in, the rebuilding process where we can hopefully jump in and do better, right? So we'll see how it goes.
The biggest thing, Tony, will be maybe Gnabry going to Liverpool. We don't want to see that happening, but they can offer him.
He's linked to Tottenham now. Every player we want gets linked to Tottenham because those lazy bastard journalists. They know
every year, every time.
That's a good narrative for Twitter and everything to get us
every
going.
single time.
Every player we're linked to. Oh, Tottenham Conte wants to come in and grab him.
He's not going there. He likes poking fun at them still.
So any other words then for Serge Gnabry?
Sign him up. Let's go. Move on. Pay the money and let's move on.
Pray.
Easy decision. We don't need to talk about that, do we?
Praying hands.
There's a certain thing that we can maybe sell. You're going to be Gabriel Jesus. You're going to be our number one striker. You're going to play every game, most every game. Serge Gnabry, you're going to walk back into the team, and you played with Arsenal before, and you have a love for Arsenal. He still banters Tottenham when things go bad for them.
Exactly.
Can I ask a question, guys? Refresh my memory. Was Gnabry part of the Bayern Champions League winners?
Yes.
Yeah, he played really well in that, if I recall. He was really, really critical to
this
that
last
win.
season now, he hasn't really been playing that much because they've just got so many good players. I mean, it's incredible who they've got.
He still had 17 goals for him in the Bundesliga.
17, Tony?
Yep.
Okay. Those are the numbers. We want to be doing a prediction podcast with Serge Gnabry and Gabriel Jesus and Saliba in the lineup so far. We want players. I think there's certain points in players' careers where they have opportunities to go where their heart takes them, and this is an opportunity, I think, for Serge Gnabry to do that.
What do you do with Smith Rowe if you get Gnabry though?
You play him, you rotate.
Yeah.
With him and Martinelli, 3 players, one of them's just to be.
It would be a great. Let's worry about that when he's signed.
You rotate those players. You just rotate them.
That's a
good problem to have. We want better people. We are saying we want better players, and then
what do we do with them? What we get them?
I think it's easy. You got to rotate them. I mean, that's all. We're talking about playing an extra 8 games at least. All right. Is that what it is for
8 games? 8 games. Well, 6.
Martinelli's have to figure out how to use the 5 substitutions.
It's 6 in the Europa League, isn't it? And then we've got to play another. Yeah. Then it's all the knockout game, and then we play another league. What was it? Knockout games after that. Yeah, it's probably going to be 8 or 10 games more at least.
what I'm saying is, there's not often times in a player's career where they get to choose. I mean, sometimes, most times they do, but you don't often have a point where there's a place in the team where that player can go and play and knows he's going to play. Gnabry can do that. Gabriel can do that, and hopefully Saliba can come back and play for us as well. The assemble's asking, does anyone think it's possible Bellerin will be offered a new contract?
Oh, come on,
No.
dude. No.
I'm only asking the question that was asked.
I know, but you know what? Why is this the question that stays? Usually they get redacted, right? This one made it through.
Tony can tell you the assemble is probably redacting it as we speak.
Well, they've flipped the rail Betis, haven't they? They said, well, they're not going to let him go for free and basically cut his contract so he can go there now. And haven't they asked for players in return if they want him?
Apparently, it was Fekir or something. We got that Fekir.
Yeah, there was Fekir and someone
Award
else.
for 15 million is ridiculous.
So you're okay if we cancel his contract as long as they give us a player of equal value, right?
Yeah, so we get something out of it.
Yeah,
if we get a decent player in return that we would provide value to the squad, 100%.
From Real Betis, almost like a swap deal. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, that's what Arsenal project. Arsenal's saying to Betis, if you can't pay the money we want, we'll swap a player instead.
That's fair. I think that's pretty good.
Yeah.
I don't like
the fact that the fact that they are asking us to just cancel the contract, I think is just I don't understand that at all. That the fact that it actually has come out.
Why don't you understand it when we've been doing it left and right?
I know, but
now, that's it.
Yeah, that's the problem. But I still now they're just asking us for what we're doing, which is dumb to begin with, right?
We have to get past this terminate contract FC. Yeah. We have to get past that and start negotiating better. Either we negotiate for players moving out, or they come to the end of their contracts and leave for free, which is what Alexandre Lacazette is doing. For me, a player who we thought was going to score 20-plus goals, he never actually reached 20-plus goals in any season from Lyon, and he gets to go back to Lyon, Matt.
Yeah, good luck to him. I think fair play. I like him as an individual. I think he's been good to the youngsters. I think they all rate him quite highly as someone who kind of puts their arm around them a bit and kind of helps them out around the club. He's been a good player in some respects. He's got some great elements to his game, but like you say, he never quite reached the heights that we hoped he would do, scored the number of goals that we hoped he would do, and it's just a bit of a shame. But I don't wish him any real ill. He's always reasonably professional. I think so. Yeah, good luck to him. Just I think, like you say, it's if we're pushing on now and we're looking to really move forwards as a club, he's a type of player that we need to shift on and shift out and upgrade on. So, yeah, no problems with him, but good luck and goodbye. We're just needing to upgrade in that position now. So, and that's really how football goes, and that's what we should be doing if we're looking to push forward as a club.
Oh, my goodness.
I'll go to the Lacazette lookalike next. Right here.
Sure it's not Lacazette?
Yeah, man. Good luck to Lacazette. I know he's returning to his former club, his boyhood club, apparently. I would have loved for him to bang in a lot more goals than he did. And it's just unfortunate that it didn't work out, man, because he had quite a good combination with
Oba.
with Oba. And Oba's also gone. So, yeah, maybe it's time for greener pastures. I hope he goes on and bangs at Lyon, I mean, I did like him, honestly. I did like him. It's unfortunate, like I said, that it's time to move on to greener pastures and getting back into the Champions League with some beautiful new signings. We've already discussed quite a few of them, and interesting one up next as well.
Yeah, we need to move on from Lacazette, Tony. He always tried hard, as Russ said. He always tried to implement what the coach and manager was trying to do, and actually called out his teammate, and maybe he called out Aubameyang at times, and he called out his other teammates for not implementing what the manager wanted to do.
Yeah, he called out everybody, saying they you seen him screaming at the team, telling them to press harder and move forward, which Arteta was telling them to do, and nobody listened to Lacazette either. And to me, he's a player that was never used correctly, starting with Wenger and going back to his dedication. You seen him under Emery sitting there fighting with him on the sidelines, but he's still on the field busting his ass. He wasn't one of the players that dropped tools. Then you had not the season that is finished, but the previous season, started the season scoring 3 goals, gets benched. Every time he's getting hot, got benched. Then he got played in this role, being almost a midfielder for link-up play, having to drop back that far. You're not going to score goals from that position. I just don't think he is ever really used correctly, no matter who the manager was.
I like the Ravenite's right here. Laca was better than we think. Maybe he deserved Champions League, but we didn't have the team that was going to give him Champions League, Tony. You know.
Yep, he kind of got screwed by Madrid having the transfer ban.
The lack of quality, and what we're looking to do is upgrade in every department now, Gary. You know.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, he gave us. I think he gave us the leadership that we needed more than everything else. So that's what we're going to lose, and we're going to be probably complaining about it next season when we don't see what he brings, you know, emotionally to the squad. So they're just going to have to fight through it. Hopefully, Arteta can help these guys along because they're going to need it. But the talent will be hopefully better if we do what we're supposed to. Because the one thing I'll say about him is that he did everything right. We needed help on the back line. He went back there. We needed help in the middle. He went there. Right? Yeah. He can't make near post runs if he's all the way on the back line and has to be up top, right? I mean, he's the conduit to everything that we needed as far as getting the ball to the front line. Right? So that's where we had problems, right? We need depth in that midfield to make it easy, so we don't have to bring back a striker like a Lacazette to help things move along through the middle there. So, yeah, we're going to probably be in the same situation again if we don't get another midfielder, I think, that can help that. But, yeah, Lacazette, he did good for us for what we needed out of him. We would have liked to have gotten more from him, but it didn't happen. So, yeah.
Sam, what happened at the end with Lacazette? He just sort of fell off a cliff. His teamwork, his effort was always there, but he just wasn't able to get on the end of things. And Tayyip is here.
I just think he just lost his way a bit. That's what happened towards the end. And like Stan pointed out, he even ended up, losing his starting place to Nketiah, So no, I mean, I think Lacazette has done the right thing now. Gone back to France, he'll probably play better there. It's more and more at his level. And unfortunately for Arsenal, he never really gave us what we thought we would get in terms of goals, return on goals, because he was banging them in left, right, and centre for Lyon. But for us, he scored 15 goals, whatever it was, the most in one season. So it is what it is. As you guys said, I agree. He's been a good team leader. He's provided a lot of leadership for the youngsters. He's been a good mentor, I think, for some of the younger lads. He has worked hard. His work rate's been hard. His work rate's been good. But yeah, he played the position he was asked to play, and it didn't really. It didn't really suit him in the end, I suppose. That's why he sort of dropped off. But he had a lot of chances. Let's be real. I remember watching Lacazette play. I mean, I've watched just about every Arsenal game, the past seasons with Lacazette. And I've seen him get a lot of chances, and he just fluffs them, because of lack of ability, lack of, to be able to do that. So, at the end of the day, that's what's been very frustrating with him, is he should be putting a lot more of those away and scoring a lot more goals. But anyway, he's gone now. Wish him all the best, and I just hope now that we bring in someone who's going to score more goals, and give us more joy.
Yeah. As Stan said, cost 52 million, and he never did better than Giroud. in this team. Larry Prince, new face around here. Thanks for joining, Larry. Stan, visionary Arteta believes in Kadia is Arsenal's future. Heaven help us. Second striker, third striker. There's got to be depth there as well for this coming season. He got COVID around the same time as Odegaard and Emile Smith-Rowe. All dropped off after COVID. Maybe it's an explanation. I don't know if it's a full one. Gundit's in the chats. Good to see you there, mate. Big up everyone here. Freaking love you all. Right back at you, mate, here. Even if you predict Arsenal finishing 11th. Would you guys have kept Giroud instead of Laca if you could go back? Yeah.
Yes.
Hindsight's 2020, right?
100%. Yes.
Suited our style more.
Good
I
question.
love Giroud. I thought he was brilliant. Really liked him.
Yeah,
Really
you knew when he was coming off the bench.
You
You knew when he was coming off the bench that you had an opportunity to score every time.
Yeah.
Every time he came off the bench, we needed a goal. He was always going to do everything he can. He's going to definitely be in the box when the cross comes through, right? He's going to start the attack and get in the box as well, right? He did that consistently for us. So
perfect hybrid, the perfect hybrid striker for modern day times. And there's something about him. I hate saying that because of what happened with Chelsea, but it wasn't his fault. It was part of the Aubameyang. There was a triangle of mechanisms there that brought Giroud to Chelsea because we wanted to get Aubameyang. And that's all connected with Lacazette as well. There was a power struggle going on within Arsenal 5 years ago. The important thing right now is we're hopefully upgrading from a Europa League team to be better than that, right? That's what we want to do. We want to have Saliba, Jesus.
We have to have a Champions League ready squad. So that's what we need.
Gnabry might be a bit of a pipe dream, but we'd love to go and do it. Lacazette, your time is done. Thank you. And thanks for the memories, right? And move on. Once a Gooner, always a Gooner as well for Lacazette.
Absolutely.
Any other things we missed? Anyone want to say anything about Lacazette? We wish him well.
Missed him being our player of the season.
Was he player of the season? Was he called that? Yeah, at one point. See, that's how quickly we forget, right? A lot of people slighted Giroud back in the day, called him a lamppost or a lump. He was so much more than that. He was good at holding the ball up. It was really a crucial goal. And very important in winning the FA Cup. Those 3 FA Cups. Our is available for 15 million, absolute no-brainer. Our is Ozil 2.0, says Stan. I'll say it again, third time. Who's Arsenal's attacking trainers? In my opinion, we haven't had a striker who has played like an attacker. I don't know, but I could research it. Everybody has the ability to go to Google and check it out, right? I don't know everything, despite what other people will tell you. Gary, right?
I just said you were wrong every time. I never said you had,
Yeah, I don't know everything. All right, the last one then is Tielemans. But before we get to Tielemans, let's talk about Kieran Tierney. It's his birthday. Happy birthday to Kieran Tierney. My biggest wish probably going into the next season is that he's going to stay injury-free. Do you think he gets another season, Matt, to prove that?
Yeah, for me, he's a fantastic player, but it is a little bit concerning about how much he's spent this season on the kind of medical treatment table. I think he's still got a big future at Arsenal. I think he has the potential to go on and be kind of a really well-loved player and be almost like a fixture in this team for a long time to come. But that really does depend on him being fit. And I'm just hoping that we can kind of sort him out over summer, get whatever treatment he needs sorted, and then he can kind of remain injury-free for the next however long, But there is a nagging feeling in the back of your mind that he's going to be one of those players that had a lot of potential but spent most of his time with injuries. So it's one of those kind of fingers crossed at the moment that he can stay fit, because like I say, the alternatives that we've got down that side aren't great, and if we're thinking about sending Tavares on loan, which I know I've seen in papers and various sources that, we're thinking about sticking him on loan. Well, if you're going to do that, then we must be going out to sign somebody else in that position, because at the moment, that's pretty much our only option is KT. Yeah. And if he's out injured, who have we really got realistically to step in for him? Really?
Yeah, it's a position he needs. Maybe Zinchenko. There's some links.
Yeah, I think that was an interesting story. I think I'd quite like that. He's quite versatile, good player. It would be a fairly solid option, I think, to go for someone like Zinchenko. So, yeah, how much of that is true? I think it would be good for Tavares to go out on loan. Personally, I think he's had a bit of a rough time of it this season. He'll learn a lot from it, but he probably, out of some of the players in our squad at the moment, I think he's probably one that really would benefit from a loan period. He's just not quite there yet. So, yeah, maybe we'll see Zinchenko come in.
Yeah. Sam, what's your thoughts on Kieran Tierney? Do we give him this one last season? Prove his fitness, his injury.
Yeah, I mean, he's a good enough player to give him a chance and see if he can actually stay injury free. It's just, I think it's very unlikely to happen, because I think he had injury problems at Celtic. He came to us injured, needing a hernia operation. I think he's got big problems with his hamstrings, because you see at the end of every game, he struggles at the end of every game, even when he's playing, i.e. normally. He needs treatment at the end of every game. You see, he needs to be stretched and all of that.
Yeah.
I just think he's one of these, unfortunately, it looks like, and I want to be wrong. Of course I want to be wrong. But I think it looks like he's one of these kids who, unfortunately, he's been playing too much football, and his body, like a Jack Wilshere, like Abu Dhabi, these kids, they just can't handle it. They just can't handle the amount and level of, exertion that has to be put through the muscles and the joints. And unfortunately, I think we could see this season that he ends up just as poor as this season in terms of being out injured. And if that happens, we're not a charity organization. We're not a manager university, and we're not a charity organization. We need to stop thinking along the lines of, we've got to help everyone out and their mothers and dogs and sisters and granduncles. We're a football club. It's a results game. It's a results business.
Yeah.
So we have to do what's right for the club. And unfortunately, Kieran Tierney, love the guy. Again, attitude, absolutely amazing. Definitely captain material. His Tesco bags, training in the winter in just a t-shirt in the snow. That he's got exactly that mentality we want. But if the guy can't play football games, we can't have him. We can't pay like we did with Abu Dhabi. Wenger loved the guy so much, and I know why. Because when you saw Abu Dhabi play, he was frigging amazing.
Yeah,
he could have been an amazing world-class player, but he was just injured all the time, and that's why Wenger kept him for like 4 seasons on 100K a week or whatever it was.
Same thing with RVP.
Just to hope that he could come back, and we can't do that with Tierney. We have to let him go, unfortunately, if that's going to end up being the same again next season. Because it's Aaron Hickey who's supposed to be quite good, who looks like we're bringing in from Bologna. So, he's going to come in now and pressure Tierney. Tavares will likely go on loan, as Matt said, and we'll see what happens. But yeah, at the end of the day, Tierney, you have to cut your losses. That's what has to happen. Yeah.
Larry Prince just became a fan this season. He's excited to win a trophy next year. It's got to be not the top 4 is a trophy, right? But Arsenal's got to get top 4, win the Europa League, or for me, win a cup of some sort to be successful. And many would say you have to get top 4 and win an FA Cup or Carabao Cup for it to be successful as well. Gary, your thoughts on Kieran Tierney as well?
Yeah, I think it's similar to everybody else. I mean, we need to make sure that whoever we bring in, one, isn't a Tavage, right? And 2, can be somebody Arteta can depend on to play all the games, right? There's none of this projects work. No. We need somebody who's established that can come in. They know they're going to get games because we have Europa League games, but Arsenal knows that Tierney cannot. I mean, with no European games, he got 22 Premier League games in this season. It's only going to get worse, right? So yeah, I think I don't even know if he's the future. They should be moving on from him anyways, right? We know what he gives you, but we can't depend on it. Similar to Partey, can't depend on it. And as Stan said earlier, there in the listing there, Tomiyasu hopefully is just a blip, right? So we just can't find any guys to stay healthy on the outside there.
Transition.
So I think we need to bring in legitimate players to back them up. You know, if I know Cedric can help in a pinch, but I don't think he's doing it for me anyways. I don't know what you guys think about him, but
I think
maybe in a game or two, but once we start pressing him for like
I
3
think
games
both
in a
are
row,
backup
I think
fullbacks or wing backs.
The numbers are
instead of
pretty
fullbacks.
similar. The numbers are pretty similar, but it just seems Cedric, the eye test, Cedric passed the eye test better than Nuno does. Even though
but that's not that big. I mean, that's the problem because Cedric doesn't give you the defense that Tomiyasu gives you, and as far as offensively, I think Nuno gives you more offensively,
going forward,
than going forward. So you're getting, you got the best and the worst of it all between the two of them. If you can get a player that can give you decent between the two of them, then you're good. Defensively, we need somebody. So,
and it wouldn't be beyond the realms of possibility that we have a Ben White playing right back with Saliba, as we mentioned before, and Gabriel, the two central defenders.
But that's stretching your team, and we don't want to do that either, right? We really don't want to stretch our team by saying he can, because that's like Saka can play on the back line too, but we don't want to do that, right? So we need to have legit players in the squad that can take that spot and not have to take players out of their primary spots at this point, right? Yeah, as Stan says, everybody give us a thumbs up in the YouTube.
Leave a like. Thanks, Stan the man. Thursday night Stan, Thursday night forum. Tony, get your take on Tierney, and we'll wrap things up pretty quickly then with Tielemans.
For me,
Sam's got to get on with Brownie, right, Sam?
Huh?
Are you getting on Brownie's podcast later?
I don't know. I haven't talked to him.
He's like kicking you off already.
He's gonna be too drunk for that, sure.
Tony, Tierney.
Tierney, to me, I'd see what offers are out there for him. But if we do keep him, I'd use him like Scotland does. Use him as the left center back. I just don't think he has it in him to run up and down the pitch. He's not the last. Only way he's the last, you put him back there as center back so he doesn't have to run around as much. But to me, we'll definitely have to look for a starting left back because he's just not to hold up there.
All right. What we'll do is we'll combine your outro, your final word with the Tielemans topic. We'll go clockwise, starting with Matt.
Yeah, I Tielemans to me, it doesn't set my world on fire. It's never been a signing that makes me think, oh, I'm really excited about that. He's not a bad player. He's a decent option. I think there's probably better out there, but would I be happy ultimately to see him at the club for depth and giving us options? Yes. I think Lokonga, for example, again, is another one of those players you question. He's had some good games, but is he quite ready to be a consistent feature of that midfield? Tielemans would probably be able to fill that on a more permanent basis and give you a bit more quality and experience there. So I think it'd be a good option. Like I said, I think our options there for midfield are potentially a little bit limited because obviously we haven't got Champions League football and the next level up, that next real jump in terms of quality is going to be difficult to achieve. So yeah, he's going to be an all right player. I think he'll be a good option for us, and I think he'll be fairly solid, but it doesn't set my world on fire. For me, I think, I'm more kind of keen to see goals come into the squad, and push us on from there. But like I say, the whole Xhaka situation, that midfield area is still a concern. So we do need to do something there. But yeah, solid option, but just doesn't set my world on fire.
Yeah, we don't know if Tielemans would come in, if he would be a starter as well.
Yeah.
So, Matt, it's been great having you on today as well. So, thanks for joining. And,
No, thanks for having me. It's great to see you all, guys, and great to see everyone in the chat. Thanks as always for joining us.
Absolutely. Sam, Tielemans.
Yeah, he's gonna start ahead of Russ's best mate Xhaka, that's for sure. So that's how he starts ahead of Xhaka, and I like Stan the Man points out there. That could be interesting with Partey in a deep role with Tielemans and Odegaard ahead of him in eights there. That could be very interesting. Even though I think Odegaard will probably be pushed forward a bit more into that pocket in behind Jesus maybe, but yeah, no, Tielemans for me is, I agree, not an amazing signing, but he's an upgrade on what we have, and that's what we want. Decent money as well from what I'm reading. Not going to spend too much money on him, which is great for an upgrade. And for me, he starts ahead of Xhaka, and you'll rotate maybe a bit with Xhaka then, so Xhaka doesn't play every single bloody game as he normally does for Arteta. So yeah, I think Tielemans, because Tielemans a good distributor of the ball, and he's a good carrier. He brings the ball through the lines. He doesn't just pass the ball willy nilly. He's a good passer. He's got good vision as well. So he's going to give us more creativity and more options on the ball as well than what Xhaka does. For me, he's a definite upgrade on Xhaka. So yeah, I'll be pleased to see Tielemans in. There was talk of Frankie de Jong, but let's be real, that's never going to happen. He's got bigger fish to fry than us, I'm sure.
If we don't get Frankie de Jong, I want to get Serge Gnabry. I would be.
Gnabry is more realistic because he has that tie to Arsenal. I think that is what our realistic chance with Gnabry is, or else he wouldn't be looking in our direction either. But yeah, Tielemans, I like Tielemans. I don't mind bringing him in at all. He will help us. He will improve us, and that's what we want without spending too much money as well. So that's great. And then, finish off by saying thanks for having me. It's been great as usual. Thanks to everyone in the chat, all the regulars, all the legends. Great to see you guys take part. And, see you again soon.
Great to have you on, Sam. Thanks for joining. And you were the champion of the upset picks. You got the most points. You can thank Frank Lampard for that, for giving you a big booster there toward the end of the season.
Or half of Arsenal have them.
It's okay, Mr. Tom. You stayed up. You're still a Premier League team. So, and Sam is champion there. Stan the Man's a recount on that one. Gary, Tielemans.
Yeah, anything that helps our midfield we need, so I'm going to take it. He's going to do that for us. I'm always fearful that you bring him in, and because of the love for Xhaka by Arteta, he gets punished for it, right? But I would love to have him come in. We need the depth anyway, so bring him in. But hopefully he knows he's got a spot he can take, and I think he can do better than Xhaka. So why not? Why not? I mean, I think a lot of people say you can't find anybody better than Xhaka, but I know I feel like that's an easy one to say because they're looking at maybe the top midfielders out there, and I think even if we got two players in, I think between the two of them they would be better than what we have with Xhaka. So for me, he wanted out last season. Why don't you let him go? Yeah. So Tielemans, I would say bring him in. Be nice, like you said, it'd be nice to have that trio right there in front of the back line of Odegaard, Tielemans, and Partey. Right, that'd be really good to see. So yeah, I say bring him in. We need another player in there, and he's available. So go get him. Right.
Well, that is a bit tasty, as I think Stan said. Partey, Tielemans, and Odegaard as first choice. Midfield, very nice indeed. Gary, great to have you on today. Yep. Thanks.
Yep. Thank you, everybody in the chat. Thank you for joining us today. we'll do this thing again, and hopefully we'll be talking about our new signees with the shirts on and everything. So that'd be kind of cool. Yeah. So yeah, the symbol. Jocker is irreplaceable. Yeah. Nah, come on, people. Come on, people. We are better than this, right? We are better than Jocker. Come on, that cannot be.
Yeah, but he'll still start
That can't
more
be.
than
That can't be where we plateau and stay. That's not our. That's not the peak, right? That's not the top of the Mount Everest of midfielders for Arsenal. We can do much better.
I
than
was
that.
severely, sincerely tongue-in-cheek, I believe, from the assembled.
Yeah.
Tony.
So, like I said, everybody, thank you for joining. We'll do this again. Arsenal. Hopefully, we close some business next week. Let's do it
this week.
Well, stay tuned throughout the summer. Stay tuned throughout the summer as Arsenal drag things on into July. Hopefully not August, right? Tony, by some strange manipulation of the rotation, you get the final word in here, Tony.
All right, we should just cut the show right now.
To me, Tielemans is not enough of an upgrade on Xhaka. He's still slow. He might have more technical ability than Xhaka, but not good enough. I'd go out and get a Basuma. We should have got a Bruno Guimaraes when he was available, but we were too worried about spending $70 million on a striker that never wanted to leave Italy. So we missed out on him, seeing what he did at Newcastle. Seen him score a goal against us. Knocked us out of top 4. But to me, we need at least 2 midfielders. Tielemans, to me, would be more of backup to Partey and whoever else, but we need depth there at midfield because we're not used to Herrera.
You want to keep Jocker in there.
I don't want Xhaka in there. I want him gone. I would have had.
I don't think you'd bring in Tielemans to sit on the bench. I really don't.
No. I mean, there will be games to rotate, but yeah, I think we'll leave it there. Tony, was that your final word?
Will still get more than 10 games with us next year in the Premier League.
Xhaka's got to be. We got to start moving on from players like.
He should be fucking gone already, but we won't bring in enough players to get rid of him.
And Hector Bellerin. Listen, there's a StreamYard link in there if anyone wants to drop in and say hello. Backstage pass for everyone in there. Slap a like on the video, the live stream. Really great to get back to Sundays. The viewership's always good, and get Sam back in the rotation as well. See, there's plenty of games. Even Sam gets to play.
Yeah, even I get to play. Yeah, hit the link, guys, if you want to come in backstage and chat with us.
All right. Until then, we'll see you Thursday. I'm sure
we'll chat about prostitutes and porterhouses.
I'm sure we will have signed all of those players on Thursday night, so we'll have a bumper show. Saliba's back. Gnabry will be signed. Jesus will be signed. Tielemans. Right.
You can sit back, put your feet up, and relax for next season.
Yeah, it'd be nice to have 2 signees, at least 2 by next Sunday. Yeah.
Yeah,
hit
right.
The likes, everyone. Thanks.
Smash the likes. Hit subscribe.
We are out of here. Take care, everyone. Be safe out there.